Olympic gold for both the men and the women. It's another miracle on ice. And the Combine, a.k.a. the Underwear Olympics, gets started this week. We'll talk all about it. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital Live starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when it comes for, it's all we're gonna do. If Boy Green is always on the scene, it was gonna always bring to life. So get ready, ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Happy Monday. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. That's our handle on YouTube. Please click the subscribe button. Be part of our growing family. We are presented today by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. NERPCNY.com for all your roofing needs. Go see our friends at Northeast Roofing, particularly if you are in the Fayetteville and DeWitt areas and any areas surrounding that area here in central New York. That is where they do the bulk of their work. Again, NERPCNY.com. And we'll hear a little bit more about our friends from Northeast Roofing Professionals a little later in the show. Boy Green, good morning. Happy Monday. You see I have the American flag draped over my little veranda there, or my little bureau there, where I sit my Giants football and my Play Like a Champion Today sign that I touch every day when I walk out of the office, out of the studio here. But yes, it's all American today. That's because the Olympics, of course, is over. And I figured, why not give him a day in the sun? We haven't spent a lot of time on the Olympics. We've, dabbled in a few things. There was some Lindsey Vonn talk at one point. Right. We didn't really get into figure skating, and Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski's breakdown of the figure skaters. Didn't do that, although we're getting to see plenty of them on the Traders. We could
very much enjoying it.
At some point have some fun talking about Traders when it ends, because that's coming to a close.
This week. Season finales this week, yeah.
Big week for us. Traders comes to a close for all you reality TV nuts. Survivor 50 opens up on Wednesday night. And Boy Green and I, as you know, Survivor fanatics that we will be joined by Brett LaBelle, and we will be doing a Survivor recap show right after each Survivor episode live right here on this very channel. So if you like the TV show Survivor, then you can start jumping in right through episode 1 here, or right into episode 1 this Wednesday night. It will be a late one because the episode is, did you say it's 3 hours, the opener? Oh my God.
I'm very certain. I'm going to pull it back up.
Yeah,
also, the thing
3-hour episode, so it might be 11 to midnight for the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital and Brett LaBelle breaking down Survivor 50 episode 1. All right, but we'll get a whole schedule out for you, and we'll keep you
3 hours.
Yeah,
it's 3 hours this week. Yep.
So see you at 11, folks. Whew, mama. Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, one thing, this is not really important for now, but just because you brought it up, we may have to change our Survivor fantasy draft schedule. Like, if we wait too long with 24 contestants, we're going to lose. They're probably going to be eliminating contestants at a record pace to be able to do the show very quickly. So we're going to have to get that fantasy draft in sooner than normal.
Well, this one will be a lot easier, Boy Green, because the fact of the matter is that we know all the characters. So
we should,
usually we know nothing, and that's why we usually wait a couple of weeks into the show before we do our fantasy draft, because we just don't know the characters at all. And so, basing it on a singular episode, you're really just throwing darts at the dartboard. At least if you have 2 episodes, you're getting a sense. Each Survivor contestant has gotten a little bit of screen time where you kind of get the sense of who they are. So I think that just makes it a little bit more palatable. But for this one, sure, there's going to be dynamics that we're going to find out in the first couple of weeks. But this is one where, me, you, and Brett will be well-schooled enough to get it done. So I think we're going to have to do our draft this Wednesday night. I think that's going to be the way it is.
Okay,
we'll have to roll it out and get it done, man.
Okay, beautiful.
So, ready to know who your 3 people are? Ready thinking who they are?
I am. Hey, by the way, are we going to do this live or pre-recorded, Lurch?
No, let's do it live. Let's do it live is the way we're going to do it, Boy Green. Okay? Live. I will never do a draft with you pre-recorded again. Ever, ever, ever again.
All right. Well,
my only respite is that you didn't win. All right. But
that's true.
You nearly
that's
did.
True.
That was the scary part. You nearly did. Although it would have just been another heartbreaking defeat for me because I never win the darn thing.
No.
Right, this was the first one where none of us had the winner.
That is
right?
correct. Yeah, we've done
first
it
time since we've been doing it. So
because Brett,
yeah.
we didn't bring on Brett before we knew who Brett was. So we couldn't have started it before, like season 33 was Brett's season. That's Millennials Gen X. So we couldn't have started it before then. So, you get 2 seasons every year outside of COVID where there's one breakup there. So we've done 15-ish, seasons of it. Maybe I'm being a little aggressive, but I think it's something like that. I think it's like 15-ish seasons we've done with Brett. So yeah, a lot of action there.
Yeah, a lot of action. All right, so Survivor this Wednesday night. But today, like I said, we'll devote at least a piece of the show today, the start of the show today, on the Winter Olympic Games. And I know, Boy Green, that you've been very busy in all your football world. This is why I say to you, listen, in all due respect, listen, like I say it to some of my friends sometimes, you got to get out, you got to get out a little, get out a little.
Right.
So I know you live in this crazy football centric world, and it's, we butter our bread with football. There's no question. This channel, we cover more than anything else football. All right. Jets, Giants, Bills, and any other big football stories. We're all over them. We're on top of them. We're going to talk about the combine today, as I call it, the underwear Olympics. Yeah. Okay. We'll break down the draft. We'll do some mock drafts. We'll do all the silly stuff that every football nut out there needs to get into their, into their recipe book as we head towards a draft. But, once in a while, you got to get out, as they say. Okay. And there was something happening for the last 2 weeks. Now, listen, I'm not saying you have to be ensconced in every Olympic sport, because, some of the Olympic sports, in all due respect, and I love the Olympics, I'm like, really? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, that's like watching paint dry.
Some curling action doesn't get it for you? Yeah.
No, curling does not do it for me. I know there are some people that love curling, so I'm going to get some people mad in the audience that actually like that. But no, I'm sorry. I might as well listen. In all due respect, again, and curlers, good for you. Wonderful. We have a curling institute not that far actually from Syracuse. I think in the Utica area. You can.
Is that true?
Curl. So if you want to go curl one day, Boy Green, you and I could go on just take a 1-hour drive when we can curl in Utica. There might even be one even closer than that now. But yeah, curling parlors are popping up all over the globe, apparently. But fact of the matter is that, I could go, watch a shuffleboard game at, the local park if I want to see curling, because that's pretty close to what it is. All right, anyway, forget about curling. I'm not here to insult curling or any other sport.
But you said that I should have opened my eyes to what?
Yeah, well, you can't. Something historical happened yesterday in sports, and you have to, dare I say, tip your cap, or remove your cap, because here it is. There's a picture of it. That's Connor Hellebuck, the goalie for Team USA. He is the goalie of the Winnipeg Jets, for those of you that don't follow the NHL. And it's
the Jets. I love the Jets. Yeah.
Okay. He's a 3-time Vezina Trophy winner. And in case you don't know what the Vezina is given to the best goalie. I also think he has an MVP. You can double check that on me. I think I read that when I was reading about him, literally during the game. I wanted to know more about him because he was. We're going to talk about other players and stuff. This guy was the star of the gold medal game. Without him, they don't win. And there's your 2 stars. To the right of him, right there, is Jack Hughes, who plays for the New Jersey Devils. Hughes had the golden goal, which was the goal in overtime. And here's another thing I'm sure you didn't know, Boy Green. Anybody that doesn't follow hockey didn't know. In the Olympics, and they're doing it in the NHL as well, but in the Olympics, overtime, it's a 20-minute overtime period. Okay, no big deal. Sudden death. Okay, that's the way you'd think it would be. There is no shootout, so it's not going to end up in one of those dopey shootouts to decide who wins a gold medal. They're going to play real hockey, except they amend real hockey a little bit. Some hockey purists don't like this very much, but they play 3-on-3 in the overtime. So now you get a wide open ice and way more attempts, some breakaway attempts at the goalies and so on and so forth. So the action, it can go very, very quickly. And it did relatively. It only took a couple of minutes into the overtime. Bang, the USA got this goal. And that's your golden goal scorer right there to the right, Jack Hughes. And Jack, interesting enough, you'd love this too, Boy Green. In the third period, he's chasing a puck in the corner. All right, going down for a puck, and there's a Canadian player down there. I wrote down the Canadian player's name. So Sam Bennett, is the Canadian player, another NHL guy. All right, because the Canadian team is all NHL players too. These guys are the best of the best. And Sam Bennett takes his stick and hooks him with the blade of the stick right in the mouth, Boy Green. whack, just like bam, like he. I mean,
Ugh.
I don't think it was intentional, but it was not pretty. And Hughes's teeth just go, shatter glass, right? And now he's bleeding from his mouth. He's in a pile in the corner after this happens. This results, by the way, in a 4-minute double minor. Okay, it's a 4-minute penalty in hockey for knocking a guy's teeth out. Okay, with your stick.
Okay.
I mean, good grief. Maybe something needs to change there as well. You knock a guy's teeth out with your stick. Maybe it should be more than 4 minutes. Maybe there should be some kind of some ejection involved or something.
Maybe someone getting arrested.
I'm just some kind of non-hockey guy trying to talk hockey here. But anyway, he gets his teeth knocked out. He's bleeding all over the place. His teeth, and he's got half teeth in the front now. Like he looks like he just.
So this guy,
there's a picture. I mean, look, his teeth been, a couple of his teeth got literally goodbye. Hey, there's my teeth on the ground. And typical to hockey players, he just keeps playing. They're just like hey, patch him up, Mick. Okay, let's go. Get back out there, Hughes. And Hughes is out there in the overtime, and of course he scores the game-winning winner, or we call it the golden goal, and Team USA wins. A lot of people might not know. Number one, yesterday was the 46th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, 1980, the college team that was put together back then. Professionals did not play for the U.S., but other countries had the equivalent of professionals, including Russia, who had like this crazy, insane, stacked team.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know the story. And, Team USA in the semifinals, not actually in the championship game, but in the semifinals, knocks off Russia in Lake Placid, just a couple hours from here in central New York. And, in what we know as the Miracle on Ice, maybe the greatest, underdog story in the history of sports by many sports historians. And so Miracle on Ice anniversary, 46 years to the day yesterday. Wow. 46 years to the day. So here we are. We're on Miracle on Ice anniversary day, 46 years. All right. And now we've got the U.S. playing their rival, the Canadians, who I think have won 9 or something. Like they've won a lot of gold medals. The Canadian team has been really, really good in Olympic competition. And Team USA hasn't won one since 1980 when that, quote, Miracle on Ice, as called by Al Michaels, the great broadcaster, won their game. And yet here we are, Micah Ruzioni, the guy who scored
9 Olympic gold medals, most in history for Canada.
Yeah. So Micah Ruzioni is at the game yesterday, the 1980 team member and the captain, right, who scored a goal in that memorable game, yada, yada, yada. And so, it was a historical moment for Team USA. They were leading the game 1-0. Then Canada tied it up. I think it was in the third period, if I'm remembering correctly. So, okay, now we got to fight, to either win the game or to go to overtime. And I will tell you something, and this is really what moved me while I was watching the game. Forget about the history and everything else.
Sure.
We have been talking a lot on our show in recent years about exhibition games that are run in other sports. And what I'm talking about is, we could talk about exhibition games before the season starts, like we have in the NFL, or we can talk about things like the Pro Bowl, which is now turned into two-hand touch because it's such a disaster. All right. Yeah. The NBA All-Star Game, which turned into 4 teams playing for U.S. and the world, and no one even knows who won or why or cares. All right. Or any of the other concocted All-Star competitions that we've created because we don't want players to get hurt. Players don't want to play. The season's over. Players just want to go on vacation. Whatever the reason, there's 100 reasons, okay, why it has fallen apart. But it has fallen apart, except for one sport, the sport of hockey. Boy Green, these are NHL players, Canada and the U.S. These are the best players in the NFL and NHL, essentially, barring a few. I know that a few play for Sweden, Finland, and some of the other teams.
With all due respect, right? Yeah.
With all due respect. But these are 2 incredibly stacked all-star rosters. The goalie, the star, Connor Hellebuck, 3 Vezina trophies, an MVP, an NHL MVP. I mean, these are great players.
Sure.
And they are not mailing it in. Boy Green, if you watch that game, the guy who covers hockey, I forget who the sideline reporter was. They have like the sideline guy down on the benches. He commented in between the first and second periods. That first period was the fastest and most physical brand of hockey I've ever seen in my life. More than a Stanley Cup final game 7s in the Stanley Cup final. That first period was being played at an elite level, okay? And as you just saw from the picture we just showed you a couple minutes ago, one guy gets his teeth knocked out, bleeds all over the ice, and then scores the game-winning goal to win gold for Team USA. And there won't be, Boy Green, not a single complaint, not a single mention, probably not even a single story written, unless there's some contrarian out there that just wants to write this story about, the concern of these NHL players. Hughes got his teeth knocked out. My gosh, is he going to be all right for the rest of the season? We're about to go into the home stretch of the NHL season. They get, I think, a couple more days off, and they're back to playing for their home teams. They're back. He's back playing with the Devils. Hellebuck's back with the Winnipeg Jets. They're all playing to get a playoff spot and to hopefully win another Stanley Cup.
I actually did see that column. Actually, I already what you're sort of talking about. Someone was complaining about it being how it could affect the NHL season, and I saw that. Went, oh, interesting.
But here's the greatness of that. See, they're missing the point.
All right,
and the point is that was such an enjoyable. I'm not a big hockey guy, as you know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I can appreciate any sport, and I do appreciate all sports, but I would be lying if I said, "Oh, I'm a hockey guy." I enjoy hockey. I don't watch it unless it's significant. I will watch it in the playoffs, particularly if teams that I am interested in or players that I am interested in are playing. I watched Connor McDavid play in the playoffs a lot last year because I wanted to know more about Connor McDavid, who, by the way, is the best player in hockey and plays for Team Canada. Okay? So I want to know about every sport. I always have considered myself a great sports journalist, which is why we're talking about the Olympics today, because I love the Olympics. Even the dumb things that I get to see on the Olympics, I still enjoy the spectacle known as the Olympics. And it has a lot of history, and it's gone back a gazillion years. But these are hockey players that, dare I say, really bleeping care. They are playing for, and not a dime. They're not getting a dime, okay? They're not getting paid to wear a logo on their jersey. They're not getting paid for anything. They are there for one reason and one reason only, to represent their country and to bleeping win. You should have seen that Canadian team after that game was over. Sure, Team USA was going bonkers and throwing all their equipment up and diving on the ice and hugging everybody and kissing everybody, right? Waving to the stands. And Team Canada was, you never seen a more mopey bunch sitting there having to watch all of that. Watch it all before they go out and do the traditional handshake, which I think is, by the way, a great tradition in hockey, and one that, unlike other sports where we do shake each other's hands, not really, all right? In hockey, they actually do it out of respect for each other, which is really a beautiful thing. Hockey really has some things that other sports don't. And I understand it's not as significant from a revenue standpoint and from a fan standpoint as football or even baseball these days or even the NBA. It's fourth, and maybe you could even argue for other sports, and maybe it's even fifth or sixth, okay? But I'll tell you what hockey does have. Hockey cares about exhibition games, including the Olympics, and I mean deeply cares, okay? And hockey has a civic pride to it that other sports don't. I've said it for years. I'll say it forever. Okay. I've interviewed players from all kinds of sports. I really have been lucky in my life to just interview people from all walks of sports, crazy, wacky sports, covering goofy stories when I was doing TV, sports on the news, to just stuff I wanted to cover, stuff I've written about. To a man, hockey players are the best interviews, and it's not even close.
Really? Interesting.
They have the best interviews, and
Why?
It's not even close. They just give. They're just honest. They talk to you in defeat. They will. They'll be down. They'll be down in the mouth, but they'll give you an honest answer. They won't blow you off in defeat. You go in that Canadian locker room afterwards, and you could drop a pin in there, but you go in there and ask a question of a player, and they actually will answer the question, not just go, "Yeah, no, it really stunk." That's what you get from a lot of other players in other sports. Hockey, they're the best. They really are the best. From covering them from a media standpoint, I can't say enough good things. And they're just kind of good dudes. They're all like that kind of like happy-go-lucky, chill guys. They're just so nice. They're really actually nice, pleasant people. So when you're on a bus with them, or I traveled to cover some Syracuse Crunch games. We have an AHL team right here in Central New York called the Syracuse Crunch. They're the minor league affiliate of the
Tampa Bay Lightning
these days.
Yeah.
They've changed a few times. The Tampa Bay Lightning these days.
Yep.
And I remember I covered a playoff game of theirs. They were down in Scranton, which is about a 2-hour drive here from Central New York. And I got there as the players from Syracuse were getting off the bus. And I'm talking to them as they're coming off the bus. And they're so buoyant and they're happy and they love their jobs. And I don't know. There's just a nice quality to them. They're not tainted by the money. It doesn't feel like they're not tainted by the ugliness sometimes that the sports bring in something. I don't know. They're just pure. That's the best way I could describe it. I wish I could.
So how do you bottle that up? You say that they've basically figured out this exhibition, for lack of a better word, whether it's preseason, Pro Bowl, Olympics, whatever it is, that there's a special sauce here that they care. There's no lackadaisical nature that there appears to be in these other sports and games. So what is it? Can you bottle that up and can you translate that to any of these sports, or is that just the uniqueness of hockey and it exists there, but it won't exist anywhere else?
I think at this point, that's the answer is the second part you said there. It exists in hockey, but at this point it can't in these other sports. And for all kinds of reasons, some of them somewhat reasonable. But we will never get another. I don't think they're going to find a way to concoct another. I mean, the Pro Bowl's gone. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, it is completely gone now. Now
it is football game. It's a flag football game.
There's no tackle football being played in that game at all. So that's gone. And do you see coming back? You see somebody going, I got a great idea. I think if we did this and did this and did this, we could get people to play it the other way and care. Oh my God, we're so far away from where it even was when it was first started, and it was reasonable to want to watch it, to where it is now. It's too far. So it's off the horse. It's fallen off the horse. It's on the ground.
It could be even worse. I think eventually we're going to get to a point because, there was a lot of jokes made in this Pro Bowl in particular, because there's 32 teams in the NFL, 16 on one side, 16 on the other. And people could choose not to participate in the Pro Bowl. Let's say they're in the Super Bowl or they're injured or all these reasons. And then you start going through those names. Shedeur Sanders was a Pro Bowler. Joe Flacco was a Pro Bowler this year. And it's a joke.
Yeah, that's a joke.
If you look at the All-Pro, right, if you look at the All-Pro teams, there's first and second team, and that's it. There's no substitutes. Right. There's no alternates. It's just these are the teams. These are the players that were voted. They're here, and it's it. I think that's where we're going eventually for Pro Bowls. So there's no more goofy jokes, and it's very serious because people have Pro Bowl, incentives in their contract. If they make a Pro Bowl, they can get bonuses and things of that nature. It's very serious. So when it should do, or Justin Fields, he declined his Pro Bowl invite as a 30th alternate and said, "Oh no, I'm good." But he could have, if he accepted that, which was offered to him, he could have been a Pro Bowler forever. We all would have went like, "What the." So to me, I think it's going to go the other way. I think eventually we're just going to get a roster gets put out for Pro Bowlers, and that's it. And no game is played, nothing's played, and they just do it from that perspective. So it's dead. Yeah.
Okay. As you see, scrolling ticker below us, we now have membership here on the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. You can become part of the 12th Manchild, which is our VIP level at $4.99. Fantastic. We have 2 other levels as well if you want to up your ante and get some more benefits, including Hall of Famers, where you can join a fantasy league with us. And we've already had one person dip their toe in that pond, and they're going to be playing fantasy football with us in a digital exclusive league. I think for that league, Boy Green, I got an idea on this one. All right. I think because we're in the world that we live in, all right, if we're able to get enough Hall of Fame members by the time we get to fantasy football drafting season, all right.
Sure. Yeah.
We will do the draft right here on the show. We'll do it. We'll have a special, won't be during our regular show, but we'll have a special show and we'll draft online. But we'll all be here. We'll be able to see each other. So we may not be sitting in a room, but we will be sitting in a room, so to speak. This will be our room, and we will draft right here live on the airways and open for comments. I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
That's going to be awesome. So, again, if you're not ready to take that dive, I'm fine with it. Contribute as you may, but you certainly support the channel by doing this. And there's going to be some other really cool giveaways and stuff to incentivize people to join up. But we already have about 20 something members. So thank you to all of you who have been generous enough. We've had memberships gifted as well. You can gift a membership. And we also have a super chats available where you can kind of get noticed over there in the comments on our channel when we're doing live stuff. And we will certainly mention what you have to say, whether it's just something nice about us, whether it's something about the Olympics, or whether it's a question that you want answered. You can jump right in there with the super chat. So all of that is available to you now, and we're super, super excited to have all this stuff, and we are getting very close. Boy Green is doing a ton of work this weekend on the Manchild Show with Boy Green digital shop. We will have an online shop with items that you can purchase, and now you can walk around with our logos on some cool items. So without giving it away, we'll soon be unveiling that. So we're getting very, very close to unveiling our digital shop, and we'll tell you all about it once we are up and running. And I'm just testing everything right now. Want to make sure that everyone who uses the shop has a good experience. So rather than just throw caution to the wind and go, oh, okay, the store's open, and then disasters start happening, I wanted to walk through this very, very carefully and make sure that everything is operating the way we need it to operate, so that there are little to no problems. So please bear with us, but we are closing in on opening up the Manchild Show with Boy Green digital shop online where you can buy merch. So that's going to be really cool. So man, it's my first like when we were in a radio station and stuff, we did have some merch, but we never designed it ourselves, made decisions about it ourselves. So this is just a whole nother cool level.
So yeah, we're new world here in digital.
Yeah, so lots of ways to support the channel. So please do so, because we need your support in order to be here. And it's really, really important to us. It means a lot to us. So thanks again to all of you who have been generous enough already. But if anybody wants to jump in and grab a membership, gift a membership, run out a super chat, we are here for you today. That is for sure. All right, a little bit more on the Olympics. So, okay, history made, all right? Yeah. The men's team wins. By the way, just a couple of days before that, the women's team beat Canada as well. So we had USA-Canada finals in hockey in both men and women, and both decided in overtime in incredible dramatic fashion, both in 3-on-3 situations as well. So very, very cool to see that happen. And then a few other kudoses here in the world of the Winter Olympics. Some people that I think stood out. First of all, the U.S. team, which is, we are not, in all honesty, typically a powerhouse in Winter Olympics. We're fine. We hold our own, but we're not usually at the top of the medal board, the medal count, because there are these these places on Earth that are a little bit more conducive of ice and skiing, more so than we are here in the U.S. Like, sure, we have plenty of places where you can ski and you can get on ice, like good old Central New York here where we live. Sure. But we also have really warm places and so on and so forth. But, when you live in a place like Switzerland, or Sweden or Norway, where it's just north. It's so far north that it's colder there a lot more. They have incredible mountains and so on and so forth. So we are usually fine in the Winter Olympics, but not incredible. This Olympic Games, we won more medals as a country than we ever have in a singular Olympic game.
Goodness.
So we broke records in this Olympics. I think part of it is the fact that the Winter Games have evolved a lot. And one of the things that has been birthed here in the Olympics are all the snowboarding, half pipe stuff. There just have been new events that have been birthed. And a lot of those events were kind of created here in the U.S. So everyone else is kind of trying to catch up to us. So we have some of the top performers. I mean, everyone knows who Shaun White is. If you know anything about the Olympics, you should know who Shaun White is. Now, Shaun White is retired. He wasn't competing in the Olympics, although he was there. We saw lots of shots of Shaun White watching in the crowd. But Shaun White is one of the most accomplished snowboarders ever, and he can just do all these crazy flips in the air, and he does the thing called the half pipe. I think he built one at his beautiful ranch, wherever the heck he lives, somewhere in the U.S. People like Shaun White, have been pioneers, to, the U.S. winning all these incredible medals. As a matter of fact, Boy Green, oh gosh, her name's escaping me right now. I'm going to kill me, but you can look it up really quick. I can't believe it's just such a simple name. But football player Myles Garrett's girlfriend an Olympic champion. She's phenomenal, and she is a snowboarder, and she is this
Chloe
little,
Kim.
yeah, Chloe Kim. Chloe Kim is this mite of a little girl who just can fly through the air. And she's won all kinds of medals, including she won some medals in this Milan Cortina Olympics, as Boy Green was just saying. So is this all the sports from the winter here?
This is, yeah. I just pulled them up. I thought there was even more, but yeah, this is the one from the Olympic website.
Right. So
here.
look, we've never been a powerhouse in skiing, although we certainly have had some good skiers, and we had two of them win gold. Breezy Johnson won gold in the downhill. And Michaela Schifrin finally broke the hex of the last Olympics and came through with a gold medal in the slalom. So we have some good skiers, but skiing, generally speaking, a lot of those Nordic countries, dare I say, are a bit better than us. They're a little deeper. We're terrible at biathlon. We try, but we're not very good at biathlon. That's the skiing and the shooting, cross-country skiing, and then you shoot, and then you cross-country ski, and then it's the craziest thing ever. We've done better in recent years in the bobsled, but bobsleighing is again, the Germans and the European flavor of the bobsled will forever be there. They usually have the best of the best, but we have competed and we have even won medals, even gold medals in bobsled. As a matter of fact, in monobob this year, a 41-year-old mother of two who was competing for the U.S. won a gold medal in bobsled. Cross country skiing, again, we're not good compared to the world, but we have a few good people in there. Curling, we've gotten a lot better, although we didn't get any golds, I don't think, in curling this year. Figure skating, we're always in it. We've always been good in figure skating, and as a matter of fact, in the women's figure skating, Alyssa Liu won the gold. That was a bit of a surprise. She was in third place going into the final skate, and really had a phenomenal skate. So I did see that. Freestyle skiing, that's another one of those, jumping around stuff. We're really good at that stuff. See, that's like an X Games kind of feel to it. So we're good at stuff like that. Hockey, we're always in it as long as the pros are playing. Luge, we're not great lugers. We're not great Nordic combiners either. So yeah, you go through the list and you see.
What even is the Nordic combiners? What is that?
You want to know all the issues of all of the elements of the Nordic combined?
Yeah.
Oh,
what is
man.
That? Yeah, I have
Nordic
no idea
combined.
what that is.
I mean, so you know what the biathlon is, right? Have you seen the biathlon where they ski and shoot and ski?
Oh yes, yeah. Okay,
You've seen that, right?
yes,
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So Nordic combined is cross-country skiing and ski jumping. Okay. So we take jumping and we take ski and then we combine the score. So yeah, that's it. It's those two things combined.
And what about the skeleton? What's the skeleton?
Skeleton is luge, but you face first.
Okay.
So if you like suicide, I highly recommend
great.
Okay. Where you're like heads up. All right. And you're on this flat sled that is, this much off the ice. Okay. With these incredibly sharp blades going down a bobsled track, essentially. Okay. At, 80-ish mile per hour speeds. I think you could check how fast they go, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, it's 70, 80 miles an hour in the skeleton. Face first. Okay.
Oh my God.
And you use your feet, which are dangled off the board. So you're not on this long board that covers your whole body. The board only covers maybe about, a third of your body. All right. Your head's exposed, right? Obviously, it's in the front, all right? So the center of your body, where your primary weight is on the board, and then your feet are dangling off. And you use your feet like you touch them on the ground, and it like helps steer you around this icy, crazy course. That is, course, I believe. I think they do it right on the bobsled course, the same course.
They sent some NBC people out there. Colin Jost, who, of course, a lot of people know him from Saturday Night Live.
With Colin Jost,
they said, "Hey, you want to test out the bobsled? Here's how it works." He went, "All right," and he went. It wasn't him by himself. It was with another professional,
with a driver. Yeah.
And they went down the thing, and he said, "I thought I was going to die. We were going like 80 miles an hour," and he said, "I didn't know how fast." And they had him mic'd up, and they played some of the mic'd up of
just screaming, right? Yeah, it's terrifying. They have it. You could go up to. We could take a trip up to Lake Placid. We're drivable to Lake Placid from here in Central New York, and you could go. They give you, you pay and get on the bobsled. They give you a driver. You don't do it yourself.
They'd have to pay me and a large amount of money to do that. There's no way.
I've seen it. I'm like, yeah, okay. I stood alongside it, like, okay, that sounds thrilling. Okay, yeah. What else? So I've moved on past that. So anyway, I just wanted to pay a little bit of homage today to the Olympics because it is over. The closing ceremonies were yesterday, and we did really well. The USA did really, really well. And I always think the Olympics it's a nice distraction from everything else. Like we have our regular sports that are always going on and we can depend on them. here in Central New York, we're approaching March Madness. Of course, our team stinks this year, but but March Madness is always an exciting time as we approach March, and you're in the months of January and February trying to jockey for position and hopefully get a seed in the big NCAA tournament. Obviously, we start to get into the home stretch of the NBA season now. We're on the other side of the first half and into the second half of the season, and teams are jockeying for seeding position, and we're going to see who's the best of the best in the NBA, and hockey is in that same mode. So we have all that regular stuff, and then we get this nice little Olympics just kind of dropped in the middle of it all. And it's nice. It's different sports, and it's, you don't have to love everything, but I do think it's good to be a good sports generalist and to just, breathe it in a little bit. Watch the things that you like. You don't have to go overboard, but watch the things that you like. Olympics have great historical value. And I don't know. To me, I think because I've watched the Olympics since I've been a little kid.
Sure.
I just think I feel like I'm more well-versed in sports. And partly because of the Olympic experience. Like,
do you have a preference to summer or winter? Because Johnny Boy is
summer is definitely my preference. Summer is definitely my preference. Johnny asked that question. Okay, perfect question. That's a very legit question. I'm very partial to the summer. Number one, the U.S. is better in the summer because we're better at running and swimming and the things that dominate the Summer Olympics. But I just enjoy the sports more, a little bit more. Like you said, Nordic combined, not sure I really get it. A biathlon, I've kind of warmed up with the cross country skiing.
Okay.
There's a legendary figure, and again, you talk about history, and this is again why I watch the Olympics. So there's a guy named Klæbo is his last name. I won't even try and say his whole name because it's 3 names. It's Norwegian, and it's incredibly insane name.
Oh,
all right,
okay.
But Klæbo, spelled K-L-A-E-B-O or something like that. It's really weird spelling. He this year became the winningest cross-country skier in Olympic history. All right. And he's just
here he is.
He's a freak to watch. All right. I think he's still on like low 30s right now. Maybe only 32 years old or something like that. I think I heard that. All right. There he is. Johannes Hosflot Klæbo. That's why I didn't try to even say it.
Yeah, smart.
It's just too darn hard. And I'm probably not even getting it right. All right. But
he's
Klæbo,
29. He's 29 right now.
29. He's only 29, this dude. Okay.
Yep.
He's been doing it since he's a little kid. He's Norwegian, Norway. All right. Yeah. And he won gold in every event he competed in. I think he won 4 golds this Olympics. You can double check me on that, but I think it was 4. But he's a freak. And like he'll be like with a couple other guys or, wherever the pack is. And you get to that last big hill climb because they go up these big hills in cross country skiing. And then all of a sudden, like, he just turns on the jets. So
he won 6 gold medals.
Yeah, 6. Okay, God, he won more than I even thought. 6 times he competed and won in this Olympics. And the last one is the longest one. So remember, he's competing in 6 events in the same thing, and he's doing it like every couple of days. And cross-country skiing, by the way, is one of the most grueling things. It's like running a marathon. Like, these guys go forever. All right. And there's a lot of hill climbing. They go down some hills too, but it's mostly going up these hills and you turn your skis sideways and you're waddling like a duck, running up a hill with your skis on, and then using your poles, like push yourself.
A 50-kilometer race. Yeah.
So 50 kilometers was the last one. I saw that one. It was just one of the last days, and maybe the second to last day of the Olympics, or maybe it was the last day. I watched almost the entire thing. They're going forever.
Yeah, he beat out.
2-hour race, 2 hours to get to the finish line. He beats his fellow Norwegian, and they get to the final hill. It's just him and this other guy broken away from the pack. People start separating on a long race like that, and you're just like, all right, it's only down to these 3 now. It's only down to these 2. It's like watching a marathon, and the Kenyans are like, there they go. There goes 2 Kenyans and the Ethiopian, and they are gone, and the U.S. people are left in the dust, right? So same kind of thing. And it was him and one of his Norwegian teammates. And they get to the final hill in this 10-kilometer, man. That's, kilometers like almost a mile, right? And they go up this big hill. It's the final hill. It's like, Will Klæbo, the announcer's like, Will Klæbo, turn it on. He's got the history. He does it when he needs it. He puts his foot on the gas. And they're going up this final hill. He just moves over to his left. He's in second. He's right behind him the whole time. He just moves over to his left. Then he goes right up this hill. And he just like passes him like he's standing still. I'm like, what the hell? After all of those miles on the legs and all of those events, this guy still has it on the final hill to just go darting by one of his teammates. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He is an 11 Yeah, 11-time Olympic champion. He holds more golds than any other winter athlete in history, and he's only second in all-time Olympic gold to Michael Phelps. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, who is 23. So, oh my goodness gracious. I'm just looking at this athletic article that's talking about it. Norway swept the entire podium, so they finished first, second, and third in this. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So he also has the most golds for a single games with 6. That passes US speed skater Eric Heiden. Wow. Look at all this history. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a freak. Like, so history. This guy's like, I want to know who Kleibo is, because this guy is he is in sports history a name you should know. You know, it's why you should know who Franz Klammer is. Okay, people might be like, look at who, what is Lurch? Where is he? Lurch coming up with this stuff. You got to know who Franz Klammer is. He's one of the all-time skiing greats. All right, and he won this historic downhill. I think it was in Lillehammer, if my memory served me right, but wherever it was, it doesn't matter. It was one of the most historic downhill runs. He was like an old man at the time. He was like, "Oh, well, can Klammer push the sun back up into the sky?" And of course,
he's Austrian.
Austrian, thank you. Yes, he is. Austrian.
Shout out to our number 1 Austrian Jets fan.
And what Olympics? Can you tell me what was the Olympics?
Sure. Yeah,
won that gold. You know, I just hate to not be right on stuff like that.
So
was it Lillehammer? What was it? It was it where Klammer wins gold. Klammer wins gold in. It was when he was older. He may have won more than one gold in the Olympics, but I think Lillehammer was when he won that one. Wherever the heck Lillehammer is.
I'm trying to find the older one because it's showing his success in 1976 as a 22-year-old. So I got to keep going till I find the older one.
Okay. I just see just to Google Klammer gold medal, Olympic gold medals, and see where he won when he won Olympic gold medals. Yeah. But Klammer is just one of the all-time great skiers, and you just have to know who Franz Klammer is because he's just amazing. And so Kleibo is a guy that you should know. I know we don't all cover cross-country skiing and pay much attention to that. You know, we got our NFL teams and our baseball and basketball teams and the other things that we follow, but you should still want to know about sports history. History and sports matters. I know it's always mattered to me. I hope it matters to you. I hope I'm inspiring you today to pick up a book, to watch a video. I mean, we have YouTube now. You can go watch. You can go watch Kleibo on YouTube now. You watch the last 2 minutes of his race. You'd be like, what the hell? Look at him running by this guy. You know, like, what the heck? This is after 10 miles on cross-country skis. He can go this fast up a hill. You're like, this guy's a freak, man. He's an absolute freak.
Yeah, the internet just says that the one that he's most famous for is becoming the youngest male to win the event at the time of 22. The Klammer.
Maybe it was young. For some reason, I had in my mind he was an older guy. So it was 1976. And where was the Olympics? Where was it?
Let me see.
76 Olympics in.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
I think it was Lillehammer now. I don't know. I'm now doubting myself, but okay. Anyway, not that important. You can look it up if you want, Boy Green. But one other story I want to share on the Olympics before we move on.
Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
It was in Montreal. Okay, wow, it's Montreal. I realize that. Okay, all right. One more thing on the Olympics before we walk away. So one of the really cool things, again, about history and being connected to history and the Olympics, and we have this really cool story right out of here in Central New York. A few years back, we interviewed him on the radio, and I'm going to just go get a picture. I did grab this morning, but I didn't put it in our little thing here. So give me a second to find this picture.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, I've got the picture. Bingo. Okay. All right, it's going right in there. Okay, we'll bring it up in a minute. Okay. All right. So there was a guy, just a guy. He's just a citizen, you know. He became a pretty prominent citizen here in Central New York and Syracuse because we have this thing called the Great New York State Fair, which happens right, next to the city of Syracuse, just outside of downtown. And we have this beautiful facility called the New York State Fairgrounds. And if you ever want to go to a great state fair, whether you live in the state of New York or any other state, you can travel to the Great New York State Fair.
By the way, quick correction there. Thank you,
Thank you. It was in Austria. So, okay, I thought it was.
Austria,
the crowd was going crazy for Klammer, so thank you for that. Okay. Yes, thank you. We had that wrong. Okay, 72 was Montreal. 76 was Innsbruck.
Okay, the internet was wrong then.
Thank you. See, great historians. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Awesome. Who was that? Give me some credit.
Again, that is our buddy Haxa 34.
Okay. Haxa 34. Thank you for that. Appreciate you looking that up or knowing that off the top of your head. Really appreciate it. Okay, so 1980 is the Olympics. Lake Placid, New York. Okay, right in our backyard. Yeah. Okay, the Miracle on Ice. We're just talking about this to lead the show because the U.S. won a gold for the first time since the Miracle on Ice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
It's Afram is his name. Thank you,
Afram is his
Afram.
name. Thank you, Afram.
Yeah.
So, Miracle on Ice. Okay,
Yep.
we all know the story again. U.S. beats Russia. Okay,
Yep.
in a massive upset. Okay, but that was only in the semifinals. And then, like the next day, or I think it was the next day, they play Finland in the finals. I mean, there's no time off. It right into the next game, and they play Finland in the finals, and then they win the gold. They actually win both games and win the gold. But the big victory, the one that everybody talks about, the Al Michaels, "You believe in miracles." That's the game against the Russians. Okay, that was before they won the gold. They still had one more game to win. That only guaranteed them a bronze.
Which people forget. That's the one that's most famous.
Yeah. Correct. But they still had to win the championship game to win the gold.
Okay.
So there's a local guy here, and back to my little state fair story. He was the director of the Great New York State Fair for a number of years. His name is Peter Capasilli. All right. Okay. So Peter is a local resident here in Syracuse. I'm pretty sure Pete still lives here. I was thinking about tracking him down. Maybe, we'll carve out, a half hour in a show and have him on, and he can, again, retell the story way better than I can retell his story. But we had him on the radio a number of years back, and he retold the story. So Pete is at home here in central New York, good old Syracuse, watching the night that Syracuse beats the Russians, and he has family over. He's got his brother-in-law,
USA, right?
Family, and they're partying and they're drinking, and they're
USA. You're talking about beating the Russians, not Syracuse, right?
What did I say? Did I say Syracuse?
You said Syracuse,
USA against the Russians. Okay, so they're all watching the USA-Russia game at Pete's house. He has this really nice, from what he described, finished basement. He's got a bar down there and everything, and everybody's drinking and having a great time, and they're all chanting USA, USA, like everyone else in the country was that night. Sure. So the game ends, U.S. wins, and Pete and his brother-in-laws get this urge, like Lake Placid is, a few hours away. Why don't we hop in a car and go to Lake Placid? Like, let's go there. Like, they were just pumped up about the game. This is at midnight. Okay, this game ends around midnight. Okay. We also have another local guy who used to write for the Post-Standard and Syracuse, before they were Syracuse.com, the Post-Standard and the Herald Journal, named Bob Snyder. Bob Snyder was in Lake Placid covering the game for the Syracuse newspapers. He was sitting in press row for the game. So you got Snyder, who's sitting at the game when they beat Russia, and you got Capasilli, who's sitting in his basement with his family, all right, watching U.S. beat Russia. They get inspired, and Capasilli jumps in the car with his brother-in-laws and some people. He's like packing his van, this white van, and they trek to Lake Placid in the middle of the night. Okay, and off they go, and it takes them, I don't know, like it was. He described it was a blizzard that night because there was snow everywhere. And yet they still trek through all the way to dangerous Lake Placid. That is not a fun trip for Syracuse, where it's pretty snowy, up to Lake Placid, which is even further north and then into the mountains.
Yeah.
Not good. All right. But they make it. All right. They get there at 6 a.m. Okay. Through the snowy snowstorm. They pull into Lake Placid. Pete even said that when they there's like a fork in the road when you came into the town of Lake Placid. And one was for here's where all the pedestrians and the regular people park. And then the other was for commercial traffic and deliveries. And he was in this white van, and it was so snow covered and everything. It was a blizzardy, snowy night that they waved him through on the commercial road. And so he came down. He literally parked a block from the arena. Okay. All right. 6 o'clock in the morning. He pulls up, parks right near the arena. Boom, because they think he's a commercial vehicle, and he gets in the commercial route. They wave him in mistakenly, and he gets to park right there. There were a bunch of people he knew that were there, so he got together with some other people that were there, and somehow he gets into the game, for Finland, the game against Finland. Yeah. With him, I forgot to tell this part of the story. I need to include this. With him, he brings an American flag, all right? One that he said was flying over this condo complex in Baldwinsville, New York, called Village Green. A lot of people from central New York will know what Village Green is, a big condo complex in Baldwinsville, New York, just a suburb of Syracuse. And he brings this flag that was flying on one of the flagpoles. It was beaten up a little bit, but Pete worked with the facility or something, and somehow, some way, this flag came into his possession. He just held on to it, just had it at his house.
All right.
And he just figures, let me bring this flag with me. So he grabs the flag and he brings it with and throws it in the van. All right. So now he goes to the game against Finland. He's sitting rinkside. I don't know how he got these seats or whether he snuck in or whatever. There was a little bit of sketchiness when Pete was telling us the story about how he got into the building that day. Did he grease somebody? I don't know what he did, but the guy was literally on the boards. He's like literally like right up against the boards, watching this game, USA Finland, the gold medal game now. And this is Lake Placid Arena, folks. If you've never been there, because you can go visit it, it's still somewhat in its original form in Lake Placid. You walk right into that place, and it's it looks. They've probably done a few renovations, but I mean,
yeah,
it
probably
like it's 1980. I mean, it's a small arena. This is it. I don't know how many its seats. So you want to check what Lake Placid Ice Arena holds. I mean, we're talking very intimate, very, very intimate. Not a stadium at all, but more of like a big gym almost.
All right, go ahead. Give a guess, Lurch. Which capacity do you think?
I'm probably high, and I'm going to guess 4,000.
7,700, it says.
Okay, bigger than I thought. Okay, 7,700. But you can imagine, folks, a place that holds 7,700 people. I mean, it's not big. It was completely round. There was seating around all the ends, but it wasn't that high up there. Worst seat. You would still had a great seat. Yeah. So Pete's right on the ice. Mm-hmm. So the U.S. is down, and then they come back and they take the lead, and now it becomes apparent in the third, halfway through the third period, 3/4 of the way through the third period, they're going to win the game. Yep. USA, place is going crazy, of course, because now they're going to win the gold medal. And Pete takes out the flag, and he drapes it over the boards, and he's screaming at Jim Craig because he's on that end of the ice where Jim Craig, the goalie for Team USA, is in the goal, and he's screaming to him, when you win, come and get my flag. This is for you. This is for you. He's screaming. And Craig Acknowledges him supposedly and nods at him. This is all, I guess, while the game's going on. I don't know what the heck Pete's doing, screaming at a goalie in the middle of a hockey game. But nonetheless, okay, game ends. And Craig gets mobbed. Like the team, of course, they throw up all their equipment. Sure. They all run to Craig and they all hug him. They win the gold medal. So now the flag is about as distant as it could be. I mean, it's over here on the boards and they're in the middle of the ice, going crazy. So Capicilli, nutcase that he is, somehow gets onto the ice. So he jumps over the boards. He says he cut himself or something while doing it. Somehow goes to an area where he can get over the boards, jumps over the boards and onto the ice. Now he's on the ice, essentially court storming here. All right. Yeah. With Team USA as they are winning a gold medal. He brings that flag with him and he puts that flag on Jim Craig's shoulders. And we all know the famous picture for anybody that has it. There it is. Jim Craig on the ice with that flag draped around him. It's a very, very famous picture. And that is Pete Capicilli's flag that he brought from his house in Baldwinsville, New York. So it's just this really, really cool local connection. And just one last thing on the flag here.
Right. Does he still have it?
So this is amazing, this whole flag story. And to be honest with you, I don't know where this Don flag is today. And I don't even know if Pete can answer that question. But if we have him on, obviously we have to ask him.
Yeah.
See what he knows. This is the supposed story of the flag. But if you read up, you can go. I went online this morning and was trying to see has there been any news on this flag? Where the heck is this flag? All right. But this was supposedly what happened. So Jim Craig has the flag. Pete gives it to him on the ice that day. All right. During the fracas of it all, somehow, some way, the flag is no longer on Jim Craig's shoulders. Mm-hmm. All right. Pete, who's on the ice during all this, reacquires the flag. Okay.
Ooh,
okay. So Craig takes these iconic photos with the flag, but then the flag gets strewn on the ice during the celebration, and somehow Capicilli gets the flag back.
Great.
He brings that flag back home. Okay. Not even knowing it's a famous flag at this point. At this point, it's just a flag that he put on the goalies, and then it fell on the ground and he grabbed it, and took it back with him. Like, I got my own kind of piece of history, but he didn't even know what a big deal it was, right? And then he supposedly hangs this flag in this basement where he watched that game, in this rec room, and frames it somehow and has it hanging in his basement. All right. And now the legend of the flag is growing. So Pete realizes he has this really cool piece of history. And then Jim Craig comes into Syracuse. I had the dates this morning. I should have wrote it down, but he comes into Syracuse for a Syracuse Crunch game. I mentioned the Syracuse Crunch, triple, the AHL affiliate of the now Tampa Bay Lightning. And Craig is coming in to do like kind of like an 80s revival kind of thing. And he's named like team, honorary team captain or something that night. And
just
so he's
there for celebration. Okay,
he brings his son, who's now 13. Jim Craig at this point has a 13-year-old son. He brings his son with him, and he's waving and kissing babies and stuff. He's on the ice, and everybody's the miracle on ice. Here we go, yay! All right, Capicilli, of course, is a Syracusan. He loves the Crunch. He goes to that game and somehow figures out a way, talks to the people at the Crunch, and figures out a way to give the flag back to Jim Craig. So now this flag, he knows, has acquired some value. And he really was like, I gave this to Jim. I wanted him to have this flag, and then it ended somehow back in my possession. I want to give it back to him. So he redrapes the flag over Craig and now his 13-year-old son at this crunch game. And now the flag is this time taken away by Jim Craig. Okay. So now Jim Craig has the flag. Okay. There's an alternate story here that Jim Craig gave this flag to another player, not on the team, but somebody that was going through some stuff. Again, I read the story this morning, so it's a little foggy. All right, I should have wrote it down. But Craig had later claimed that wasn't that flag. It was another flag. So, okay, whatever. And then that flag was displayed. Supposedly, Jim Craig loaned it out to some museums like the Hockey Hall of Fame and some other museums for a while. That flag was displayed, and then Craig got it back. And now the question is, where is it? Does Jim Craig still have it? Does this
the moment?
Player still have it? Yada yada. Yeah, there's the moment. Okay, there's the moment right there. That's Jim Craig on the right, and that's Jim Craig's son in the center of that picture.
Is that your buddy back there putting the flag on?
Yeah, that's Pete Capicilli right there, taping the flag over them. Yep. So that's a real shot. That's a real picture. All right. And that other one is that we showed a minute ago is Jim Craig.
I can't believe he gave up the flag. Oh my goodness! I'd be going to Pawn Stars or something saying,
this
"Hey,
flag supposedly, at least that last check, the article that I was reading this morning was at least 5 years old, 6 years old, is worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million. And who knows? Some nutcase would probably even pay more than that.
Probably.
You could honestly verify that is indeed that actual flag, so on and so forth. So there's been a little bit of like, is that the right flag? Pete says that the flag supposedly has his own blood on it because he bled that night when he was coming over the bleachers or whatever, coming over
so you
glass.
could do a blood analysis.
Right? So I guess we could do some DNA testing to make sure. Also, Jim Craig supposedly autographed this flag at some point. And it has some kind of autograph on it that's Jim Craig's and Jim Craig's alone, his exclusive autograph. That was more than just his name. So that would also be, I guess, another identifying factor if indeed that was the real flag that he autographed. So anyway, this crazy conspiracy thing about the great American flag that was draped over Jim Craig after that win against Finland when Team USA won the gold medal game in the 1980 Olympics. So what a crazy, right? Like what a mad world we live in, right?
That's cool.
That a guy right here from Syracuse, New York, just a citizen, okay, ended up draping this flag over.
So I'm guessing, and what was your buddy's name again? Pete what?
Pete Capicilli. And Pete was, I told that story. I don't know if I even actually connected the dots here. Pete was the director of the Great New York State Fair for like 10 years or something.
You did.
So he had a kind of a prominent position here in our community. That's a pretty big spot to be the fair director. The fair is a big event. It runs for 10 days. And so, people know Pete's name. People know who Pete is.
Well, I know that, the term viral wasn't a thing in the 80s, but was he... Did he go on like a mini tour? Like he was the guy that put the flag on people, and that's how it came on your guys' radar to bring him on the radio, and people wrote articles about it, or what?
Like a mini tour, but I just think it kind of leaked out that he was that guy, and then he came public and said, "Yeah, I was that guy," and then he told the whole backstory of how him and his brother-in-laws jumped in a van and how they went to the arena that night and got there at 6 a.m.
Wow!
In a blizzard, and then went to the game.
What a cool story!
Draped the flag over Jim Craig, and there is a shot. I was looking at some video this morning, so I wanted to see if there was any clear shots of Capicilli, like you see him. That's
on the ice, right? Yeah.
The shot that I saw in the one small video clip was a guy that I think was Peter, but it was from behind. So you don't see Peter's face; you just see him from behind. So how can you identify him from behind? I mean, So that's all I found. So, but it's a true story. I mean, I have no doubt that Peter.
That'd be pretty crazy if he came up with a concocted lie of that nature.
Right. The real question is, where is that flag today? Who has it? And what is the value of that flag? Because that thing is, again, a piece of sports history. So that's why I say watch the Olympics, folks, because history, man, history. It's this history being made. Every time an Olympic Games is played, there are some historical moments that will live forever in sports that are happening, and you should witness them. You shouldn't go, oh yeah, it was I went to the movies, it's sports. I know, like, curling might not be your bag, don't watch it. I don't care. I don't watch curling either, okay? But there are moments in the Olympics, whether I love the sport or not, that I say I gotta check this out. I gotta,
I am a huge history nerd. So again, I mentioned Pawn Stars. I've watched a lot of pawn shows over the history, and I love when they bring in an item from, the 1500s or something that has significance. It's not like a random 1500s rifle, that it could be anything. It's a piece of history, and they talk about it, and you educate yourself, and then your value. All that's super interesting to me.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. So that's my
Cool.
story, and
Good
I'm sticking to
story
it.
time.
But that's
Nice.
that's why you pay attention to the Olympics, because stuff can happen, man. You want to be part of it. I watched that game. I watched that whole hockey game yesterday, and I felt like I watched something historic. Not even just because US won; it was just an amazing game. Like
Yeah.
these guys were playing like their lives depended on it. I mean, like it was like if we lose, we die. So let's win. Like it was that type of intensity, the hitting, the speed of the game, the hustle from end to end, the play by both goaltenders, outstanding, standing on their head routinely. The American goaltender made 3 or 4 saves that were just unbelievable that he stopped the puck. How did it not go in, remarkable. And that all is what hockey is. It's this tiny little game of tiny inches and one little thing. I mean, a lot of people don't like hockey because just like soccer, there aren't enough goals scored. Okay. That it's just, you get a couple of goals. Come on. I don't want to watch something for 3 hours. I only get a couple of basketball. I get to see a goal every 10 seconds,
Right.
Oh, go. People are scoring like there's no tomorrow. Football, we get to see a pretty fair amount of scoring.
Right,
yeah. But hockey, I know it has that stigma of there only are a handful of goals oftentimes scored. In this entire game, there were only 3 goals scored, including overtime. Okay. But the moments of desperation, the moments of, the goalie making the big save, the breakaway from the great player, and he doesn't get it past the goalie, or he does. It just, it's worth it for those glimpses. Sure, there's gonna be a lot of stuff with it's okay, nothing's really happened here. But then when something does happen, it kind of elevates your adrenaline. My wife was watching me watch it. As they were making, I'm jumping in my chair. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my God. Could have gone in, my Lord." I was going crazy because they had awesome. The 1-0 lead. I wanted them to hold on to it, and then they gave it up, and I was like, "Oh no!" And Canada was dominating the game at that point. So I was like, "They're going to go down, man." The other team's just dominating and getting a lot more chances, but the goalie kept standing up, and then they get that one chance in overtime. Bingo.
And did I read correctly? USA was favored to win this entire thing. So like, there's like a different level of pressure for that as opposed to what happened back in 1980.
I don't think so. I don't think U.S. was favored in this. I think Canada was still favored. I don't know for sure. I didn't look at the odds before the game, but the Canadians, Sidney Crosby was out. He's their captain. He was hurt. He got hurt 2 games ago in the Olympics, and he didn't play in the last 2 games, the semifinal and the final, unfortunately. He was still there on the bench, but he could not play. So that was a big loss. But, they still have Connor McDavid and a ton of great players. So I'd have to guess the Canadians were favored, not the Americans. But, the American, that should have been and was likely to be the final. I think the Americans actually beat them in the regular, in the round robin or whatever. I think they actually beat them once, and then Canada, made it back. I think I should double check that too. But again, I start paying attention when it matters, right?
Right.
I'm paying attention a little to like what's happening in the round robin. Okay, USA going through. Okay, Canada's going through. All right. Okay, hopefully it's a final, and then the final comes. I'm there. Now I want to be there. So again, that's why I say I'm not a hockey nut. I never will proclaim to be there, but I do care. That's and cool. I do want to experience history in sports. And I think if you do too, don't write off the Olympics. Don't write it off. Just try to watch some of it. Watch what you can watch, and go back and watch the things that you missed, because we have this wonderful thing called the internet and YouTube, where you can go back and watch moments. You can go back, watch the Klammer downhill. You can go watch that downhill in 1976, Franz Klammer. It's amazing. It's crazy.
All right,
Lurch. Great. Yeah.
Okay. So I play this game. It's all Olympics related. I play this game with my fiance, my future mother-in-law. She got me this game for Christmas. It's called Outsmarted. It's basically a trivia game. You guys can all play on your phones and get it up on the TV. You're moving around a virtual board. It's just trivia. And there's all kinds of topics, history, science, all this other stuff. And yesterday we had an Olympics trivia question. And it was this: how many Olympic games have been officially canceled in history? Do you know the number to that question there, Lurch?
Wow. I don't.
Okay, great. So we'll get a nice little guess here.
How many Olympics have been canceled in the history?
Officially canceled. Yeah. How many Olympic Games have been canceled in history? I got that trivia question last night in our outsmarted game. And now I'm throwing it over to you here for trivia.
And can I just eliminate one answer before I attempt to answer? The answer is not none, is it?
It is definitely not none.
Okay. All right.
Can confirm.
Part of me is like, I can't recall. I mean, but now you start thinking about, during the World Wars,
sure,
what was going on then. And, we wouldn't be, let's have an Olympic Games. So definitely there had to be some Olympics canceled during the World Wars.
Sure.
Although, remember, I mean, and people will know this, again, if you know history of sports and history of the Olympics, Jesse Owens competed in Germany, in front of Hitler and the Nazis, essentially, and won all those races. And that was, right before World War II, right? I mean, I'll have to look up the years and stuff, but I mean, yeah. So, but okay, how many Olympics have been canceled in the history of the Olympics, and includes summer and winter games, as far as you know?
Yes, it does. Okay. I have it in front of me, so I can see that it does.
Yes. Those of you that don't know Olympic is that they play every 4 years, both the summer and the winter, but they're played in alternate 2-year spans. So, in other words, in two more years, we'll see a summer Olympics, and then in 2 more years, we'll see a winter Olympics. Then we'll be back on the summer 2 more years like that. So they're played every 4 years, but they stagger them so that we get an Olympic Games every 2 years. Okay,
and that includes both winter and summer. That is correct. Yes.
All right, I'm going to say 6. That's my guess.
Is Lurch right? Did Lurch get it correct? Did he nail it? And folks in the audience, you guys can also feel
total
free
guess,
to...
Total guess.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's perfect. And Lurch?
I didn't think so. Okay. It was a guess.
The number is 3.
3.
And you were correct. All 3 times it was affected by a World War.
Mm-hmm.
So, here were the 3. 1916, the Summer Games.
That'd be World War I.
And then 1940 and 1944. There you go.
That'd be World War
Summer and Winter Games in 1940 and 44. There you go.
Okay.
2020 does not count. The Tokyo Games were postponed due to COVID. That does not count.
But they did play them a year later. Yeah,
they did. Yeah. So again, 3 cancellations. There you go. So I learned that last night on Olympic trivia.
My son was slated to travel to Tokyo during the games.
When
COVID hit. So that whole trip got canceled. And then he did not go back the following year when they actually had that postponed Olympics because, the amount of plans you make and the flights, forget it. So I guess he was able to get, him and his mom, he was going with his mom, were able to get their money back for all their accommodations and their flights because of COVID. So fortunately, the airlines were very understanding. The event was canceled. I'm sure they refunded a lot of people, but they were able to get their money back, and they did not. Now, they ended up going to Tokyo a couple of years later, but they did not go during that Olympic Games.
Too bad.
My son was hoping. My son part of the thing is my son wanted to go to Tokyo, and he wanted to see the Olympics. And I was
what a hell of a time to pick. Huh?
I wasn't going to get to be on that trip, since I'm the sports guy. But nonetheless, he didn't get it, but he did go to Tokyo.
Okay, nice.
All right, look, a perfect time for a break. All right, that's enough on the Olympics today, but I did want to pay a little homage now that the Olympics is over. So one half a show on the Olympics was certainly well worth it. Today's broadcast is brought to you by our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. You see them right above us there. They are our presenting sponsor, I should say. I call them title sponsor as well. And they are fantastic. You talk about getting a roof done, getting a repair done on your roof. They do great work. They work primarily in Fayetteville and DeWitt here in central New York and the surrounding areas. So if you live in those areas, then they're the guys you want to give a call. And you want to do that now because I know it's wintertime and no one's getting on your roof at the moment unless it's an emergency. But what you want to do is you want to plan your roofing replacement or your roofing repair in the spring or summer when the weather is warm. And they get booked up, folks. They get booked up very, very quickly. So, again, Northeast Roofing Professionals, NERPCNY.com to find out more. All right, I'll tell you a little bit more about our friends, and then we're back. Stick around. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget to pop that subscribe button and join up. You can be a member of our channel right now. At MC Show Digital. Just hit the join button as well and super chat us. We'd love to get some super chats in when we return. We will shift gears. We're going to talk all things NFL Combine when we return. Stick around.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
All right, we are back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, talking all things sports. Wrapped up our Olympic talk. And again, right there at MC Show Digital, our YouTube link. You want to go to that YouTube channel. Number one, to subscribe. Okay, you want to make sure that you're on our YouTube channel because we do broadcast in several places, including social media and Paul's YouTube channel. So you want to be on the at MC Show Digital channel to subscribe. And then also that's where you can join up and become a member as well. So do that all at MC Show Digital. If you're not there, you can just jump on over and you'll get the same exact feed that you're getting right now. All right, combine time, as I call it, Boy Green, the Underwear Olympics. Now you can take over the commentary. I've done enough talking today about all things Olympics. Now it's time for you to talk about something that you love a whole heck of a lot, that I scratch my head about and go, come on, why do we even do this nonsense? That is the NFL Combine. But nonetheless, we will cover it. We will talk about it. We will see what happens here. What angers me about it these days, Boy Green, and I'll just start with this and then hand it over to you. All right. What bothers me is this. That in the last, I don't know whether it's 5 years, could even be almost 10 years. Now the best players in college don't compete at the combine. Like, we will not see the top quarterback and the guy who's going to be the number one pick, Fernando Mendoza, throw a pass. Am I correct about that? He's not going to throw a pass.
He is not. That is official.
Combine. So we don't even get to see that guy and evaluate, hey, how far can he throw it? What's his release look like? What's his footwork look like? Even though it's in underwear and it's all planned and he's got a coach there and all that stuff. All right. The fact of the matter is that we don't even get to see that anymore, because now the top players, they don't want to risk injury. They don't want their draft stock to be downgraded if they're exposed in some way, shape, or form. So they just say, I got all that game tape. Go look at that game tape. They do usually show up to do interviews, though. So I'm sure Mendoza will probably interview with some teams. Correct. But we don't get privy to those interviews. That those things are done privately with the team. So we just get whatever interviews the media is there to pick up for us. So anyway, give me your thoughts about the Underwear Olympics. And are you discouraged, like I am, that the best players oftentimes don't even compete or don't compete in all of the items that are listed in the NFL Combine?
Yeah. So first off, Fernando Mendoza will not throw at the combine. Instead, he will throw at the Indiana Pro Day that's coming up on April 1st. So quite a while away for anyone who wants to see him compete. The good news is that every other quarterback is expected to throw. So that's exciting. The good news is most of the other players at prominent positions, Jeremiah Love, the superstar running back at Notre Dame, and the top receivers, and everyone else at this point, again, we will find out more information, are all going to participate at this point. That's what it seems like, barring new information coming in. Meetings start today. There's the medical process, which is also why the combine will always be a thing. 32 team doctors and what's the best way to put this? Independent doctors that have no bias to any team are going to be here. So all the players are going to go through all the specs that are included for the medical stuff. And man, there's some crazy stuff, Lurch, for people that want to look up those stories. For instance, it was a couple of years ago, a wide receiver went to the combine for his medical checks. And most of the time, right, they go through the bells and whistles and nothing. They're just, you're as healthy as you thought you were. And then every once in a while, they're like, hey, buddy, do you know that you've had a broken leg since you were 6? And they're like, what? Yeah, there's this sliver here on this document. And sometimes players find out injuries that they had. And I would say, and that one's kind of like, whoa, that's crazy. The more serious ones, I'm very happy that the NFL has such advanced modern technology and all the money that sometimes they catch diseases. And thank God that they go through this very thorough medical process where sometimes people's lives are saved when we get to that serious level of discovering something they hadn't known about previously. Could be a blood clot situation or other. So that part of it, I'm really happy about. But no, to the overall point, Lurch, yes, I am disappointed when they don't do it. I'm not surprised. Fernando is projected to be the number one pick, and he has nothing to gain by being the number one overall pick. Like, he is the number one overall pick. There's no higher he can be. And in theory, anything bad happens that could only hurt him. So I understand why he isn't doing it, and we'll see it at the pro day, because here's the other thing. For those who don't know about the combine, these quarterbacks are throwing to random wide receivers. They're whatever receivers that were invited, and it's random cycles. So QB2 is up for a drill. Wide receiver 17 is up on the drill, and it just rotates. So you don't get to pick who you throw to, and that doesn't sometimes put you in the best position to, when Fernando goes to his April 1st pro day, he and his team of teammates and the coaches have worked on that routine, those 50 throws, for months. So the routine, he knows the dress rehearsal. He knows the people he's throwing it to. He knows what they ate for breakfast. He knows it's all controlled. So that should make him look as good as possible. But I will say, as a casual observer, I don't even want to call myself a casual observer because I love the combine. I'm even more than that. But for just an observer of the combine that has no bias this way or that way, I want to see them compete against each other. I was talking about it on my morning show today. Someone asked about Cole Payton. Do you know who that is, Lurch? Cole Payton? Does that ring any bells?
No, does not.
Okay, Cole Payton is the North Dakota State quarterback that's creating a lot of buzz. People think he could be this like hidden quarterback in this draft. He's going to be throwing it next to Alabama's Ty Simpson, who's expected to be a first-round pick. And they're going to compete against each other. On one play, it's Cole Payton. On the next play, randomly, it's Ty Simpson. I love that. I love the competitive juices. I love that you're literally going to see these guys lined up right next to each other in the same pair of shirt and shorts, and you get to see what they do. So that part of it's really exciting. And just the combine in general, Lurch, is this perfect pivot point. Obviously, the top draft prospects are there. Fernando's going to be there to do the interviews and the medical. But we're right around free agency, the new league year. We're in the middle of the franchise tag window. The legal tampering period is coming up on March 9th. So we're going to have all the agents and players and contract conversations happening at the combine. So, man, we're just going to get a ton of rumors and juicy information to sink our teeth into throughout the week, which is really exciting.
Yeah. All right. So
here's the schedule real quick. I guess we could get into that real quick. So the on-field workouts start this Thursday and they go through Sunday. Thursday is the kickers, defensive linemen, and linebackers. Friday is tight ends and DBs. Saturday is the big day. That's quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. And then Sunday is the hog mollies, the offensive linemen. During the weekdays, those drills start at 3 o'clock. So Thursday, Friday are at 3 o'clock on NFL Network. And then the weekend events start at 1 o'clock. And then, of course, Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah will have the full exclusive NFL Combine coverage for the event.
And that's, I know it's on NFL Network. We didn't talk about this on the show at all. I don't want to get into it in depth, but is it official? I think NFL Network is being bought out by ESPN. So ESPN is going to own that entity, which to a lot of people, in all honesty, is not great news because, there are a lot of people out there that don't like the way ESPN covers some things and the particular hosts that are ESPN guys and what will happen to the guys that I think, it was nice having this independent NFL Network with their own hosts and their own guys. And I know some of them came from ESPN, like a Rich Eisen, but the fact of the matter is, I kind of enjoyed getting a different perspective. And now it looks like we're going to be homogenized once again with big business, buying big business, right? So that's not yet, right? But it's coming
there's
right?
There's all this, as you will know better than anyone, Lurch, with your background, there are things that get reported and then things that have to go through the process and
long process.
Oh my God, approval and this and that. Right. So it's going to be a little while before all of that is ratified and official. But yes, ESPN will own the NFL Network. From a few people involved in the purchase and moving and broadcasters on both sides, from what I've heard, ESPN views the NFL Network as, and this is going to come off probably insulting, but they have an SEC network, and for SEC fans, you go to the SEC network to get your stuff. Yeah. They're hoping that the NFL Network can continue to be its all NFL channel, and you will go there for that coverage. If that's all, you don't want to hear basketball, you want to hear Olympics, you don't want to hear anything. You just want your NFL stuff. It's supposed to maintain that. It's supposed to maintain a large group of the cast of NFL Network. Some, like Rich Eisen, the water's a little murky because he jumped over to ESPN Radio semi-recently with his Rich Eisen show, and he was already working on NFL Network. So now that it's all coming together, some of that gets a little messy, I guess. But yes, the full people from the NFL Network crew are expected to move over, but I'm also not making the decisions on who gets paid and who doesn't. So naturally, with any kind of combo platter like this, I imagine there will be some casualties, unfortunately. But for now, yes, it'll still be exclusively NFL Network coverage.
Yeah.
But to your point, there was a transaction that took place pretty seismically.
Yeah, so that'll change things. All right, sounds like Saturday's the big day, huh? Would you get
Yeah,
the
for
quarterbacks?
sure.
You said quarterbacks and receivers
And running backs.
and running backs. So I mean, that's a lot of the
It's a big day.
those are the skill players that we want to see and
Correct.
and take a good look at and see if stocks go up or stocks go down in the
Mhm.
draft.
Yeah.
They break up the 40-yard dashes too. Is that all done early or is that based on?
So that
when
is
they're
based on your
competing?
day. So
Okay.
quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs will run their 40-yard dashes on their specific
Oh, they
day.
run on that day. Okay.
Yeah, right. And everyone else, offensive linemen would do their 40-yard dash on their day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they all do their events. But right, there's a variety of things. So there's obviously bench press, 20-yard shuttle, 40-yard. I mean, we could go through all the different drills that they're going to be doing over the coming days. But yes, they break it all up to the day that you're doing it. And then there's all this extra hoopla sort of in between. The NFL Network's going to have all the 30 that are there anyway, the 32 head coaches, the 32 general managers, breakdowns of the teams, free agency, trade rumors, all that stuff. So that's a part of it to me that'll be very exciting because now we start to get the real leaks when everyone is all together in one place, agents, players, contract discussions. I know it's, I know this is going to be crazy here, Lurch, but the tampering happens before the tampering.
Yeah,
I know that's crazy. I know that's breaking news here, but that's going to be happening. And I think we're going to start getting some of those leaks. And obviously, we also saw some roster moves already, right? The Dolphins cutting Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins cutting James Daniels. They're going to cut Bradley Chubb. So that early free agency gets underway as well.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of the things that have to go down. I know, like, take the Jets first, for instance. The Jets, as we know, have a lot of money. Okay,
79 million.
They're way under, and then they're also because of some stipulations in the collective bargain agreement, they can't just say, "Yeah, well, as much as we have to spend, we're not going to spend anything." They actually have to spend over 50 million. I think, right, is the number for the Jets. So because they haven't spent prohibitively in recent years, I think it's like a 3-year window. Tell me if I've got this right. A 3-year window where you have to spend a certain amount or you have to be in a certain bracket, and the Jets aren't. So they have to spend a minimum of $50 million in free agency. So the Jets, whether they like it or not, will be spenders. Hopefully they spend on the right free agents.
Yeah, that's something I think some people forget about, which is super interesting. So it depends. So it's not always a 3-year period. It's based on the CBA. So technically, when the new, which is the current, when the current CBA was signed, it started with a 4-year period, 3-year period, 4-year period, 3-year period. So it depends on where you're at in the CBA. We are currently in a 3-year cycle, so that covers 2024 to 2026. So this is the final year of this period. So in other words, for those who don't know, teams have to spend a minimum threshold. They just can't sit on their hands forever, just keep letting money roll over and tank from that perspective of, I'm a cheap owner and I'm just not going to spend and I'm just going to try to be terrible and have the number one pick every year and do that sort of thing. So for instance, the Jets have to spend a 90% threshold, which means they have to spend at least 50 million. They have 79 million in cap space. That's fourth most in the league. So they do have to spend that money. And if they don't spend the money, let's just say they said, you know what, screw it, we don't want to spend the money. By September 15th, they basically have to donate that money to their players. So that makes no sense. Any greedy billionaire is going to want to add more players, not give it to the players he already has. So every no NFL team would ever go against those rules because they know it's going to be spent anyway. So they don't get to keep it. So yes, they're going to spend it. So yes, due to a unique clause in the CBA, the Jets are going to spend money. Now, I always thought they're going to spend money because they're coming off a 3-14 year. They stink. The Aaron Glenn's on a hot seat. So there are already plenty of reasons to do that. But according to Tony Pauly, what that really means for people that are paying attention at home is the Jets are going to have to front load a lot of cash in 2026 to pass that 90% threshold. Because just because I signed Jim the Manchild Lurch to a 10-year deal for $100 million, if I defer, it's not quite the same way that it is in baseball, but if I defer that money to year 2, 3, 4, 5, then the spending didn't happen. So I have to make sure that 50 million is accounted for on the books for 2026. So yes, a lot of spending is coming for the New York Jets.
Yeah, well, that's good because then you can't be the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean
Right.
that's what the Pirates have done in baseball. They just don't spend.
Right.
And then when and yet they always have high picks in the draft, and they've actually done a pretty good job in finding really good young talented players in baseball. And then as soon as they get to their contract years, they don't sign them because they don't want to pay money because their owner is super cheap. So it's nice to see in football that they actually put some stipulations into the collective bargain agreement that make everybody at least force everybody to be somewhat competitive. You don't want teams just sitting down there, just tanking away and, just sitting at the top of the draft and not caring all the time. It makes for boring play. It certainly kills a fan base. That's for sure.
And I'm sure the players aren't upset about making sure that money ends up in their pocket. So that's the agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA. Hey, we're making a lot of money. You better make sure you are reinvesting that money into our players. So again, it makes sense for the competitive reasons you just highlighted, tanking and all that, and also for the players to make sure they're being rewarded for their efforts, no matter how that money is divvied up.
Okay, so that's the other side of. I mean, we've talked a lot about, the what do you call it? We were just talking about it last week when you lock in a player. What's the term? My goodness. Oh, my memory is not serving me well today at all.
Franchise tag?
Franchise tag.
Oh,
so the players lost, in my opinion, the players lost some ground here on the franchise tag because that gives the organizations and management an upper hand.
Sure.
And it's a pretty significant one too, because you can franchise tag 3 times, right? So so you get a guy on a 5-year deal, and then you get 3 years of franchise tags. Theoretically, you can hold on to a player for 8 years, and that player has no choice other than to not come, to stay home and not get paid. But if that player wants to be paid for those 8 years, they have to keep coming to work every day and playing for that team, and that team has the upper hand. So you've literally locked in good players, theoretically forced to play for a team for 8 years, regardless of whether they hate the ownership, they hate the team, they don't like the city, whatever. They can't get out unless they force a trade or something. I mean, I know a player can always do things to try to get out of a place, but technically they can't, right? Technically. Right. So they lost on that one. So I'm glad to see that the players, got a little pushback here, because that's the other side of the coin, is they are forcing all of the teams in the NFL, even the bad teams, all right, to spend a certain amount of money or to basically have to donate that money. So they're going to spend it over donate it because they got to give it up one way or the other. So, and then that forces those lower end teams to have a level of competitiveness so that you just don't have, powder puff teams in the NFL, because that doesn't make for a good league to have that.
Right. No, and again, the franchise players are typically angry at getting a franchise tag. Now, the good news is it's a lot of money. It's normally a top 5 at your position. Depending on the position, there's some rules that sort of skirt that a little bit. But it's, long story short, it's really good money, but it's only 1 year, so it's not long-term security. So if you get franchise tag and you blow out your leg, if the next year they don't have to give you nothing. Of course, the long-term deal where you sign a $100 million deal, get $50 million of a guarantee, doesn't matter if you get injured or not, you're getting your money. So that's the concerning part for some guys. They normally don't like doing it. So it is an avenue. Again, my instructions to the NFLPA, if they're listening to the show, or there's any of the key decision makers in the universe, if you don't like the franchise tag, and a lot of players don't, and you want that off the pile, then you got to be very tough in the negotiating room, because if I'm the NFL, I don't want to give it up easily. But there are things that the NFL wants more than the franchise tag. So you just got to play the game, and we'll see if they choose to play at the next CBA.
All right, fair enough. So that's pretty good stuff there. So look, we're going to have a full report from the combine, right? Matt Lombardo is it confirmed? Is he going to be there? What's going on?
Unfortunately, not. He just gave an update, which I am a member of. His Between the Hash Marks Substack. So I got this notification this morning. Unfortunately, the blizzard has kept Matt at home, and will keep, unfortunately, a lot. Shout out to our guy, for instance, our guy Jake Asman. He made it to the combine. So he's at the combine, but several of my other media buddies did not make it. The flights kept getting canceled, rescheduled, and everything. I've seen even some of the ESPN people, right? And they have, you think in theory, the best money, best anything ever can get any person. Yeah, for normal people, maybe, yeah, buddy, you're not going. But you've got connections. Maybe you could go. Dan Orlovsky's stuck in blizzard territory, and ESPN can't get him out of where he is. So, and so it even happens to the people that have the deepest potential pockets or deepest connections. But yeah, so Matt officially gave an update to his Substack. He will not be able to do the live show with us. I'm sure he could still do it, but unfortunately, it won't be live in Indianapolis, unfortunately, on Wednesday. Okay. So.
All right. Well, Matt still knows his stuff on that, so we will
Of
definitely dig
course.
in with him on
Yeah.
Wednesday and talk some more about it. But he was going to be live on Looking, but I can't blame that. I was checking in with my family last night because the blizzard had begun in New York City. Here in central New York, we got nothing. It's a beautiful, sunshiny day here today. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
We got a little smattering of snow yesterday, but just a coating, not even an inch. But I was calling both my son and my mom, who were both down there, just kind of checking in and doing a little FaceTime. And hey, stick the phone out the window. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what the size of those flakes are like. It's always good to see someone else getting a good snowstorm. We're so used to getting them up here.
That's true.
It was. I talked to my mom. I'm going to say, I don't know, or my son, I should say, later in the evening, and it was starting to come down hard. It was starting to, I was like, okay, now we're cooking here. Now we're cooking. Now we're starting to see it. So I don't know what the end result was or still is, because it was supposed to snow into today, maybe middle of the day today, finally taper off. But I was watching a little of Today Show this morning, and there was plenty of snow. There was 18 inches on the ground in Central Park. So that's no fooling around. New York City with 18 inches on the ground. Long Island was supposed to get it worse. So my mom is pretty far out. My son's in Queens. So I'm just very curious to see how many inches did you get? How many inches did you get? But they all got over a foot for sure. 100%.
Oh my goodness. Good Lord.
Yeah, and that obviously shut down the airports and everything, because this,
of course,
in Syracuse, we shut down our airport for like 2 hours and they just plow it away and then they go, okay, we're open again. But in places like New York City, it takes forever for them to get all this stuff cleared and get the airport back open. So it's got to be a real mess down there, real mess,
right.
And a ton of flights obviously go into New York.
Oh, 100%. So so it's a nightmare. So for anyone that's dealing with that stinks. Again, I hope one year I will eventually get to check it off to go to the combine. I actually was going to go a couple years ago. My work at Heavy was going to help. They were going to sponsor me, for lack of a better word, to go, and I was super excited. And then I got a once in a lifetime call from the Jets, who said, "Hey, we're doing a documentary. We want you to be in it, and it's on this date." And I'm like, could it be on any other date? And I said, damn it, I just can't say no to this. So I had to decline my combine invite that they approved me for and go to the Jets facilities. I wish those things were at different times, because I would have, of course, loved to do both. But so a couple years ago, I had my first chance at the combine. So now I'm going to have to see if I can go back.
Let's go to the combine, huh?
Oh, my goodness. Yes. I'd love to bring the show to the combine, to be honest with you. Boy Green Daily or MC Show Digital or all of the above. Because, again, there's just every media person out there that's overflowing with information that I think would be super interesting to the fans out in the audience. And, again, if I could run into the NFL Network team, I am a massive fan of Rich Eisen and Daniel Jeremiah. I just have so much respect for those guys. So absolutely, that's on the bucket list too.
So we certainly would get access. I mean, certainly get access to a lot of people, a lot of dignitaries, and so on and so forth. And as Matt was saying when he was talking to us last week, the fact of the matter is that one of the really cool things about something like the combine is not what goes on in the combine; it's what goes on in the restaurants and the bars later in the night, where everybody's just out creeping, dare I say. I saw that shot of the Jerry Jones bus that you guys, it's really remarkable, how, these guys just turn into normal people and they go out to the local steakhouses and they do the steak and scotch thing. And you get them in a little bit more of a relaxed environment. And you can have a fun interaction.
Here is the picture. This is the Jerry Jones bus that Matt Lombardo texted me in on our hit on Sunday. And it's crazy. I've heard all kinds of stories, both that I can tell on the air and that I can't tell on the air, of people being in Indianapolis. And there's all these places, St. Elmo's, and all these famous restaurants. And I can't wait to eventually go. And hopefully the NFL doesn't turn this into a money grab and makes the combine go on the road. I hear so many wonderful things about Indianapolis, and that the convention center to where all the hotels are, everything's walking distance. So you can you're at the combine, up, you're at the restaurants, up, you're at this, which makes it like almost a hub for all this activity. And I hear stories of you're just grabbing a beer, and then all of a sudden you look to your right, you're like, holy crap, there's head coach, blah, blah, blah. Whoa, there's Jerry Jones owner. And when the booze gets flowing, the information gets flowing, and people are saying all kinds of things. So it's definitely a bucket list item for sure.
Yeah, pretty cool. So that's awesome. So, okay, Matt won't go, but that's understandable. I mean, like I said, that blizzard is really hit people really, really bad on the East Coast, all the way from Boston right on down. I think there was even some snow in Virginia. So, I mean, it really hit that whole East Coast, but the New York metro area definitely got hammered, and they will be digging out for the next couple of days. So no surprise there. Flights canceled, and onward and upward.
Yeah, I'll say this. I just sent a text to a lovely person at formerly of the NFL Network, and we'll see if we could get that person on the show on Wednesday, either with Matt Lombardo or some combo platter to have some sort of NFL Combine representation show. Just sent that text out. We'll see if that gets received.
Okay, well, we got our usual good week again, so we will have coverage of all the New York football teams as we always do each and every week. That's all coming your way. We'll go live again on Wednesday, as we mentioned, but Pollock will be back again this week. He's been stirring it up here with the Syracuse faithful in the last few weeks in terms of all the stuff that's going on with the Syracuse basketball team. So we will have that this week as well. So it should be a very, very eventful week with the Combine underway later this week. So right through the weekend, we'll have plenty of fat to chew coming out of that for next week as well. And then we begin really our surge towards the NFL draft. I mean, boy, we're going to be basically next week. We'll be out of the month of February. Remember, February only has 28 days. Today's the 23rd. So when we hit the airwaves next Monday, we're now officially in March, and we are like 6 weeks away from the NFL draft. So 6-7 weeks that we'll be covering the NFL draft. We'll do some mock drafts. We'll get some draft insiders on the show. Sure. We'll try and really bust this thing wide open and really, really talk in depth with you about the draft, get to know these players better, get to know what these teams are chasing, so on and so forth. Should be fascinating. I've already been starting to read articles on the Giants and some of the moves that they could make, should make, where they have money. The Giants, unlike the Jets, they have a lot of contract renegotiation kind of stuff to do if they want to be really active in free agency. So they've got to get some of their top guys to rework their contracts, which is doable, so that they can free up some cap space so that John Harbaugh can get to work. But I have no doubt the Giants are going to try to do that because they really want to hit the ground running with Harbaugh. I mean, like, they didn't hire him to go, okay, well, we'll let these guys come along. I mean, this is going to be like, hit the ground running. Let's spend some money on our needs. Let's be at the top of our game here, not just waiting for developmental players to develop. So they're gonna hit the ground running, and they've got a lot of opportunities. But they're gonna have to renegotiate some contracts to open up those coffers a little bit, so that they actually can chase some of these top guys that are out there on the market in terms of free agency and fill some of the holes that they have. And they definitively have some holes, so they'll have to get busy.
There's no question about it. One thing I was double checking here is let me see on the list. Are they scheduled to speak? The other bit of news we'll get this week, Lurch, is the head coaches and general managers speaking at press conferences this week to give all kinds of new information. So I see Joe Shade is on podium 7. Let me see, what is that? So Tuesday, February 24th, Joe Shane will speak at 10 a.m. in the morning on Tuesday morning. So that'll give us some new Giants activity. And Harbaugh speaks at the same time as Aaron Glenn. That's at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So we'll definitely have information on both Jets and Giants, I see here. And I was trying to see if Joe Brady and Brandon Beane are back-to-back. They'll be on podium 7, 2 o'clock and 2:15 on Tuesday. So, yeah, Tuesday will be press conference day, so we should get all kinds of new information on franchise tags, free agency, and things of that nature. So we'll have everyone covered this week with Jets, Giants, Bills.
All right. Fantastic stuff there. So that is awesome. Yeah, some gifts coming in, Boy Green. Looks like Austrian's busy today, my friend. So go ahead. You can divulge here. But again, membership available on our channel. And we got some gift memberships heading out the door, both the Boy Green Daily and to the Manchild Show with Boy Green. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. Austria Jet fan with a 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. There you go. Not just on the.
Now I should pick a video for him, even though that's for your channel. I don't care. I'm going to pick a video for him to play. He gets 2 videos today. I mean, I think. All right, I'll pick the first one here. All right. How about this one?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. What?
There you go. All right, there you go.
All right, so again, that's the 5 for Boy Green. And wait a second, 5 for MC Show Digital here on the program, showing some love for both channels.
Hell yeah.
All right, you pick the video for our channel
Ooh,
this
I
time,
get to
Boy
pick
Green. I'll
this
let
one.
you
Okay,
go. You pick
the wrench one is a good one, that's for
You like that
sure.
one, huh?
Yeah, I do. That one's it's sort of it's funny, but I also like flinch every time he gets hit in the face with a wrench. I just imagine how painful that would be. But let's get some of this.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
By the way, Lurch, I don't know. Have you seen the show Tulsa King?
Yes, I have seen Tulsa King. Yeah, very good
Okay.
with Sylvester
Okay.
Stallone. Yes.
So
Excellent.
I'm still in the middle of season 3. So like I was on it, and then something happened, and then like
I was
basically
on it and off it too. I don't think I'm caught
Yeah.
up either. I don't know where I am right now. I'll
So
have to go
yeah, so there are
check it.
3 seasons of it, and I'm in the middle of season 3. When my family went out of town for a few days, I had times to watch shows for myself, and I'm like, no, let me get back into it. And now I'm all in. So Sylvester Stallone, wow. Even
That's very
now,
good.
there's still a lot of whatever the word is. I don't know. There's something still captivating about him when he was younger, when he's older, everything in between. By the way, do you have any? How old do you think Sylvester Stallone is, Lurch?
Oh, he's up there. I know. You wouldn't think it, right? But he is.
Right.
I'm gonna say he's pushing 80. He's close to 80.
You
70,
nailed it.
Is he 80 on the button?
He's 79 and turns 80 over the summer.
Yeah, I
And
thought
I'm
so.
like 80. Like I see him, and then it just doesn't
I know.
make any sense. But which is crazy. But by the way, real quick, these memberships, real quick. The 5 on the MC Show digital channel went to NY Jets fandom.
Nice.
B Coplin, Macho Talk Sports getting a membership.
Macho's in.
NYC Techie and Mac Attack. That's Mahar Khalil, who was at our tailgate last year. So those are the 5
Nice.
from the MC Show digital
Welcome
channel. Here's
aboard.
Yeah, there you go, baby. And here are the 5 for the Boy Green channel. Joey Byrne, Hulk Smash My Mom, very nice. Thunder Lips, Just for Fun, and Zoink Nation. For the 5 on my channel, you guys have 5. Austrian rather has 5 raffle tickets to our contest this month. So beautiful. Congratulations, and thank you, Austrian, for making it rain at the end of the show.
Very nice. Very nice. And again, membership is available, $4.99. Support us. We'd love for you to be a part of our membership family. It really helps our channel grow. So super important to us. At MC Show Digital on YouTube, youtube.com/at MC Show Digital. That's where you want to be. And you just click the join. And then, like I said, we have 3 levels. You can join any level. If you want to go all the way to the top, you can get into our fantasy league. We're going to try and get the first 10 members of the Hall of Fame Club will get in our fantasy league this coming fall. So you still got time, but 1 spot is already filled. Me and Boy Green have filled 2 other spots. So 3 spots are filled in what we hope will be a 12-team league. So we still got 9 more spots available at the Hall of Fame level. If you want to contribute at that level, you'll automatically get into our fantasy league. As I told Boy Green earlier in the show, we're going to do the draft for that league right here on our channel.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That is going to be awesome.
Let's
So
go.
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be cool. I'm going to get one of those cool WWE championship belts.
Ooh.
That'll be what the champion gets for winning the league. Very, very cool. You could sport that thing around town, maybe take it out to the local pub, so on and so forth. So that's how you do it. And for those people that have just become members, thanks to Austrian on the Manchild Show with Boy Green digital channel, some cool perks. We're starting to give you early access to videos. We've been doing that over the last couple of weeks. I put out a couple of members-only shorts over the
Nice.
weekend. So you get early access to some of our shorts as well. We had some really cool stuff that we put out last week that I turned into shorts. So some really cool perks that you'll get on top of the cool emojis as well. I'm still waiting for somebody to pop in there with the Mookie emoji.
Yeah.
Mookie is my little dog, and there is an emoji in there where
There
you
is.
can essentially have your emoji be Mookie. I love that. So feel free, if you are already a member, to pop in the Mookie emoji and get some kudos for that.
Quick PSA, by the way, if you were just gifted a membership, whether it's on my channel or the MC Show digital channel, either way, folks, here's how it works. Austrian has given you a lifeline for a month. He's allowing you to walk around, test out the water, see how you like it. At the end of the month, you're going to receive an email that says, hey, yeah, that was a fun free month on MC Show Digital, the Boy Green channel. Do you want to stay a member? And you can click yes, and you re-sign. Or you could click no, and then the membership's over. So make sure you test out all the perks that are available on both channels. And if you like it, stick around. If you don't, so be it. But I think you'll be pretty convinced once you walk around and check everything that's available. You're going to love what you see. And I see Austrian, by the way, with a message saying, thanks for the great custom-made pint glass, Lurch.
Yeah, so here's the inside story. So I didn't want to say anything about this until Austrian received it. It was
Yeah,
quite the
sure.
quite the shipping to get it all the way to Austria and
hear,
all the hoops that you jump through sometimes to send stuff overseas. But anyway, he has received his pint glass,
Yes.
and he had jumped on board when we got our first series of pint glasses here that have the 12th MC and the Manchild Show with Boy Green logo on it. All right, our first item of merch, even though we don't have it for sale yet. Hopefully,
Right.
something similar to this will be for sale soon. All right. So I wanted to get our first piece of merch, so I ordered that custom. They came in. I had them delivered right here to my house, and we gave them away to people for jumping in on membership and being the first handful of people to jump in on membership. And of course, Austrian, he's so generous, and we appreciate you so much, Austrian. Jumped in. So I decided, okay, so he won one of these pint glasses, and I sent him off a pint glass, and then he sent us back.
Let me go full screen on
All
you
right.
so you can see it. Go ahead, Lurch.
So I sent him one of these pint glasses, and he took a picture of himself with the pint glass as old Yank did, and some others that we sent these out to. All right, and which was cool. We post them on our YouTube channel, okay, under posts. So if you want to go, if you go into again at MC Show Digital on YouTube, you go to posts, you'll see pictures of Austrian and some of our other members sporting their pint glasses. Very, very cool.
Sure.
All right. As a matter of fact, the MFC has been sending in all kinds of pictures.
Oh, yeah.
With his pint glass. He's taking this thing
Milkshakes,
everywhere. So he deserves super
drinks.
kudos for
Yeah.
taking that pint glass everywhere he goes and putting all kinds
Yeah.
of cool drinks in it and, different colors and really, really playing with the pint glass. He's having a good time with that pint glass. I might have to send him a case of pint glasses.
Yeah,
He keeps that up. All right. But Austrian, a second time, I did another, like, hey, we're on our way out of one of the live shows. I said, all right, if we get 3 more memberships right now, I'll send out 3 more pint glasses because I had a few more in the case here.
Yeah.
And Austrian jumped in again. I was like, man, this guy, he's so generous. He jumped in again, and I owe him another pint glass. So off to Austria goes another pint glass. I was like, you know what? I could send him another one of these pint glasses, or
Which are
I
nice.
could do something a little bit more because he's so generous, and I just appreciate people that really, really support the channel. So I said, I'm going to do him one better. So I went out, and I know in Austria, and like I said, I have a lot of relatives in Germany. I'm German on both sides of my family. There's this thing called Oktoberfest with a K, O-C-K, instead of the O-K-T, right? Oct with a K. And they just do it up. I mean, they're like, this is like a party, like roll up the storefronts and just party like this, like it's 1999 kind of thing. And so I was like, you know what? When you go to those big beer fests that they have in Europe, especially in places like Germany and Austria, you want to have one of those giant beer steins or like a really big mug. Because they don't just give you a beer in a pint glass. Forget it. You're a wimp if you walk around with a pint glass at those things. They give you like these big giant things. So I was like, let me get him one of those instead, and I'll send him that. And then I saw a company online that literally does them custom. And so now you can pop up that picture, Boy Green, if you want to put it up there full screen. And so I had a custom pint glass made for Austrian. And I know it's a little hard to see in this picture, but at the top of it, it says #1 Austrian Jets fan. It says exclusive to 2026 edition. You can kind of see that in the center. And then below that logo, which is kind of like a cool looking crest, it says 12th Manchild VIP member. So he's become a VIP member of the 12th Manchild, which is, of course, our group here that you can join and support the channel. So kudos, and I'm glad you got it, Austrian. And enjoy that glass. Take it to Oktoberfest, baby. Now you can drink beer. That thing is, I don't know, that's like 26 ounces or something. I don't know. It's way bigger than a pint glass.
Nice.
It's huge.
Well, I'll tell you this, I had the great pleasure, and Lurch, you were there last year to host a tailgate special with my good buddy James Woody last year, and we got to meet a lot of people in person that call in these virtual boxes, and I have heard or comment in and then get to meet them in person. It was cool having people come up to me and say, hey, I'm Ant Jets ED2, or I'm user 4457. I'm like, whoa, and I'm getting a name to a face. Definitely not.
Cool.
So I hope that one of these years, I plan on doing this hosting of a Jets tailgate every year moving forward until for some reason I'm unable to do it anymore. And I hope one of these years it's Austrian. So I hope we can make that happen. I know that's a long trip and there's a lot of hoopla involved with that sort of thing, but I do hope we get to take a picture together. That would be amazing for
I dropped him a little note when I sent him the first pint glass, and I said, I've been trying to get over to see family in Germany for years,
Yes,
and
yeah.
almost everybody else in my family has managed to make that trip, and I am like last on the line here.
Sure.
But I will get over to Germany to visit some of my relatives, and Germany and Austria are right next to each other. So I said, listen, if I'm in the neighborhood, we'll stop by. We'll have a beer at a pub or something
Sure.
in Austria or right at the Austrian-German border or wherever the heck it is. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Already over there that far, I might as well just make one more trip somewhere. So maybe that'll happen. So I sent him a little note. I said, hey, hopefully we're both sipping out of these glasses, in the next couple of years, on my trip over to Germany / Austria. Cool. So, and Austria is a beautiful country too, a very, very beautiful country. And he's jumping in here. So this is what it's called in Austria. It's called Wiener Wiesen Festival. Okay. Oh. So in some places it's called Oktoberfest, and maybe it has a special name like this does in Austria. And as a matter of fact, Austrian lives in the great city of Vienna, Austria, which is supposedly beautiful. Again, never been there, but I've seen pictures. They have a big festival there. Big festival. So, so enjoy it. Take it to the Wiener Wiesen Festival and enjoy. That's fantastic stuff. So,
wow, that's awesome.
Hey, and by the way, speaking about that Mookie emoji, I sent this over to you this morning, Paul. But let me just show it to some people. You have some fun sometimes in the world of AI. So I was just having a little AI fun this weekend with the Olympics going on. That is my dog Mookie. As a snowboarder. There he is. As an Olympic gold medal snowboarder right there. That's Mookie. So you could have that beautiful face right there in the center of that screen. That beautiful face could be your emoji. If you are a member, you can bust out the Mookie emoji. So just thought I'd share that. That was a fun little thing. Look at him, Olympic gold medalist. He's got a gold medal around his neck. The world of AI is so much fun. You can have fun.
Which I have a special message, Lurch. Let me get this on the screen, and then maybe you can do it because you're of German descent, Lurch. So maybe you can help me translate this message that I have for number one Austrian Jet fan. Can you tell Austrian this for me?
I got the Jets fan part of it.
I didn't even see that in there. That's hilarious. Okay.
Dank. A lot of words in German sometimes are close to American words, or you can kind of glean it from the way it's said. Yeah. Okay. I think Dank might be thank. It might be.
It
thank.
Is. You're right.
My mom actually can speak a fair amount of German. She never speaks it unless relatives are in town or someone that's only speaking German. Okay. But it's like broken. I would call what she speaks broken German. My aunt, who's no longer with us, unfortunately, could speak it much more fluently, or at least conversationally, and have a full-blown conversation with some of our relatives who would come over from Germany for different events, and they didn't speak any English. So someone had to be the translator. So it's tell them I said, it was this hilarious thing of, tell them I was once, and then they're laughing and you're laughing and you're waiting for the delayed response to come through the interpreter. It's hilarious when you do that. I wish I spoke fluent German. I do not. And Bestin might be like all the best or something like that.
Yeah. So here is the real message.
Some words here that you can kind of dope out a little bit.
So here is the English translation. Thanks for supporting number one Austrian Jets fan. You are the best. But it is vielen Dank für your Unterstützung für den
Für der Gropten. Österreichischen. Right. There's a lot of
in German. Jets fan. You said die Besten.
Ihr said die Besten. That might be right.
There you go.
Ihr said die Besten, maybe. Close. I might be close.
There you go. So I used Google Translate to try to send you that message, and I just heard it in my ear. It said, "Oh, do you want us to pronounce it for you in German?" I'm like, sure. And I'm hearing it, and it's...
What is it in English? Give it again one more time. You cut off there. What was that?
Yeah, so I use Google Translate to put this together. So I put my message I want and say, "Hey, can you say this in German?" And then there's like a little voice command say, "Hey, do you want it to say in your ear how this is supposed to sound in German?" I'm like, "Oh yes, please." And I heard it. I'm like, So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to replicate what was just said to me to say it, but nonetheless, this is my message to you, number one Austrian Jets fan. So thank God you can speak multiple languages. So appreciate it.
I think he threw it up here, right? He says, "Many thanks for your support for the greatest Austrian Jets fan. You are the best." There you go.
See, he can translate too. Okay, beautiful. So I'm glad my message was received. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. That's probably true. So
a lot of folks in both Germany and Austria, and I'm sure many European countries in that neck of the woods. A lot of my cousins, while many of them speak only German, they also, many of them speak both. So it is quite
Both what?
common. It's quite common in Germany that you speak both English and German.
Oh.
So they speak fluent English, so I can have a conversation with my cousin Philip, for instance. He comes over from time to time, and I can have a normal conversation with him, in English because he speaks perfect English. So
It is, for those who don't know.
German too, and then I don't have a clue what he's saying. So when he wants to say things about me that I don't want to know, then he starts speaking in German.
German
What
is
did
the
you say?
official
What did you
language
say
of
about
Austria. It apparently is spoken by 98% of the population as their primary language. The written language is standard German. The spoken language is typically Austrian German, which is a distinct variant with unique vocabulary and pronunciation, which was influenced by the Austro-Bavarian dialect. So there you have it. Lurch, I do have some news. I told you I sent out a certain text, and it has since been received. We'll have a special guest on Wednesday's show, live from the Combine. Former NFL Network host Lindsey Rhodes will join us live on Wednesday at 11. So I will recalibrate with Matt to either give him the week off or we'll work with him to put him at a different time because I want to try to see if we could get someone from the Combine. So, yes, Lindsey Rhodes will now join us at 11 o'clock on Wednesday.
All right, fantastic. So we're looking forward to that on Wednesday. All right, well, it's been a good one, man. I've enjoyed that. I enjoyed for a change, just talking about the Olympics, which is something that I know you don't get on a lot of talk shows these days, but I thought it was worth it to just do at least a half a show on it. So we did that. We did a little Combine talk for you today, and we're going to have a lot more in the Combine and get you rolling towards the draft. I did, by the way, Boy Green, look into the possibility of us going to Pittsburgh for the draft, right? I've already been to an NFL draft, but you still have not been. Put it on your bucket list. So I checked my place, right? You're going to love this. You're absolutely going to love it. You're not going to love it, in all honesty. You're not going to love it, all right? But you're going to love it in a weird way, all right? So I have this place that I've stayed at for years in Pittsburgh, all right? And we stayed at it when we went to the Pirates game. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it is within walking distance of where the draft will be held. So we won't even need to get in our cars to walk over to the draft and walk back to our hotel. Okay. So I'm just curious. Let me see if it's available and let me see what the going rate is during the NFL draft. So I checked, I think, like Thursday night and Friday night. Maybe it'd be the Thursday and Friday night, go home sometime on Saturday.
Well, Saturday's the draft too, but okay.
Yeah, well, I know you want to watch every moment of it.
Of course.
But, I can watch the first 3 rounds, right? Which would be the first 2 days, and then I can go home and let you talk about the rest of it. And look up who did the Giants draft. Okay, good. Okay, let's find out how these guys are now in training camp. So I checked on our place, and I found out, wow, 2 rooms are available. Holy crow, we could book for draft week at my place. I mean, walk over. This would be fantastic. The typical going rate for our place is like between $100 and $200 a night, just depending again, whether it's a weekend or what's going on, yada, yada, yada. The going rate during draft week, and now I understand why those 2 rooms haven't been booked yet, although I'm sure he's going to fill them. I'm sure he's going to fill them.
Oh, no.
It was over $2,000 for the 2 nights. So we'd be paying about $1,100 a night to stay in a place that we could normally stay in for, $150 a night or something. So that is what happens at these times, right? The hotels go through the roof.
That's quite an increase.
Yeah, it's quite an increase to say the least. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to Pittsburgh for the draft. That doesn't sound.
Did you book it or what?
I did not book it. I did not book it. I did not. I was like, whoa! I love the idea of the walking convenience, but maybe we'll stay about 2 hours away and pay $70 a night because I don't want to pay $1,000 a night. That's just not what I want to do. To sleep, because we've also be doing there.
Well, right. I would be there for any other reason
all day. Then we're going to go probably go out to eat, and get a beer or something afterwards. And then we're going to get home at 10 o'clock at night, go to sleep, and do it all over again the next day. And for that 8 hours of sleep that we're going to get inside that place, we're going to pay $1,000 or $1,100.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, whoa. I mean, like, that's a lot for a good night's sleep. So anyway, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. At least to stay at the place where I've stayed in the past, which is
a very nice place. I enjoy it.
I started poking around just at regular hotels too.
Oh, those super expensive too?
Yeah.
Damn.
Any place within a, let's say, 15-minute drive was $800 and more per night.
What? Oh my God.
So they know what's going on in Pittsburgh, Boy Green, just like everybody knows what's going on. It's Super Bowl time, wherever the Super Bowl is. This is what happens is everybody, they gouge. They price gouge everybody because they know that people will pay it. People will pay it. They want to be at that event. They're going to pay $800 a night to be there, or they're going to drive, or they're going to drive 2 hours. Okay, and then they get a normal hotel rate, and then drive in 2 hours and drive back to your hotel.
Which I would for that money. I would absolutely do
right?
that.
For some of us, we'd say, I don't care. Then fine, I'll just drive the 2 hours. But that's just.
But then you have to build out your entire life for everything. You have to channel out the 2 hours and whatever traffic could exist.
Yeah, that sucks. That all sucks.
That's brutal.
And parking and everything. Like we would just park and never have to believe in. Our cars would just be there in front of the, in front of this joint for the whole time. Never even have to use the car. We could walk to everything, restaurants, the draft. It would be a total walking tour. It'd be fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
But not for $2,200, I would say. Damn. I was like, yikes! I don't know if anybody's going to want to do that.
Well, thanks for looking, Larch. I appreciate it.
I looked, Joe. I looked. My search isn't over. I haven't given up completely, but
discouraged.
It was a very a rude awakening for me. I was like,
I imagine so.
Why didn't I think that was going to happen? Of course, but I don't know. I was thinking maybe it could be double, but I wasn't thinking it could be.
Yeah, that's what I thought maybe, but oh god,
we're talking, in the neighborhood, not 8 or 9 times the normal rate. That's serious. Double is one thing. I pay twice as much, but look, I'm here for the NFL draft, but not
it is still on my bucket list, and this is probably the closest it's ever going to be to me.
I know that's the thing, right? And we know the town. I know the town really well. Yeah. There's just a lot of benefit to us doing it in Pittsburgh because the familiarity really helps. You guys aren't going to have to be like, where do we go? What is this? How do we do that? I would be
it's a reasonable drive. We're not getting on an airplane or anything.
Here.
Yeah, right.
I know how to get around. So. It's not dead yet, but it's on its last legs. It's like dangling. It's dangling from a leaf, and it's about to fall. So all right, I just have to watch it on TV like everyone else. But we'll see. I haven't given up total hope, but we're clinging by a pinky right now. Clinging by a pinky nail here. All right. Final thoughts, if you have any, Boy Green, before we get out of here on a Monday.
Yes, again, just confirmed. I just got the text a second ago, so blessed be he. Lindsey Rhodes live from the NFL Combine will join us on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Very excited for it. On Boy Green Daily over the next 2 days, I'm going to have a couple of analysts that are live from the NFL Combine, a lot of them represented by Sumer Sports. So thank you to those great people over there. They're doing, by the way, which I'm sure we'll promote with Lindsey on Wednesday, they recorded a special draft series called The Evaluation, and they have multiple former NFL general managers on their staff, several former Jets GMs, and they broke down all these positions for the draft and had all kinds of expert people on there. So can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So salute again to the one and only Lindsey Rhodes, who will be joining us on Wednesday. She's great. And I'm sure a lot of you guys saw her on NFL Network for a long time. She's terrific.
All right, and I'll end it with Prost, which is German for cheers, for our friend, number one Austrian Jets fan. Appreciate your generosity. Enjoy that wonderful, wonderful, exclusive giant beer mug / Stein that you can use over there at the wonderful, wonderful festivities that are going on later this year at Wiener Wiesn Festival. I love it. Oh, fantastic. All right, we'll be back on Wednesday again. Don't forget, we'll have plenty of stuff dropping in the meantime. But Poliquin will be dropping him soon. And we'll be reeling in our Jets, Giants, Bills guys. We may have some subs this week with Jake at the Combine. Yes, So we'll be working out all of that stuff. So sorry, I don't have all the names and the times for you yet, but we work this out week to week with all of our insiders. But we guarantee you, we'll get you inside all of the big teams that we cover week in and week out. And don't forget, special week for us Wednesday night. Throw in another live show. If you are a late night dweller, all right, where you can maybe be putting some beer in one of these pint glasses, got to get yourself one first. We will be doing our Survivor recap show after every Survivor 50 episode. Big season for Survivor, 3-hour opener on Wednesday night. And we will be on right after that at 11 o'clock, so probably 11 to around midnight. Brett LaBelle is back on the beam with us again, the former Survivor castaway himself from Millennials versus Gen X. He also appeared on The Amazing Race with Chris Hammond, who was on Survivor with him during that Millennials versus Gen X season. So Brett will be joining us for all of our post-game shows as well after every Survivor episode. So we're pumped. We'll be with you late nights on Wednesdays on top of all the sports content that we deliver to you during the week. Everybody have a great day. We will see you soon. Take care.